Yes, please start.
A very warm good morning to all. The path from dream to success does exist. May you have the vision to find it, the courage to get on it, and perseverance to follow it. With this beautiful quote given by Kalpana Chawla, I, Rani Kumari, student teacher, B.Ed Batch 2022, welcome you all on the fifth day of Personality Development Program organized by Training and Placement Cell, Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida. An important interview skill is the ability to connect the role requirement with your experience, professional or personal. Not only does this give the hiring manager a chance to get to know you, but also allow you to become more comfortable with the idea of interview. So, to enhance our interview skills, today we have Ms.Bandan Preet Mahajan, founder of Guinness Editorial and Work of Life, to share her profound knowledge on the topic Essential Interview Skills. It's an honor for me to introduce her again. Ms. Bandan Preet Mahajan is an alumnus of Miranda House. She is an internationally certified public speaking coach and has been running Guinea's Communication Skill, Life Skills, Personality Development Unit for the past 20 years. She is a certified storyteller and a voiceover artist. She is also a youth skill mentor, with several modules being delivered by her Pan Globe for professionals, executives, students, teachers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. She has been editor and proofreader to several coffee table books, magazines, college, newsletter, and journals. She has assisted four research scholars with their PhD thesis and also running her YouTube channel named Bandan's Gurukul. She has several awards on her credit. Some of them are Rajiv Gandhi Excellence in Education Award, the Educational Entrepreneur Award, Dr. Sarojini Naidu International Award, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Award, and many more. We are pleased to have you again on the board, ma'am.
The pleasure is
Now I
all mine,
request,
Rani. Thank you so much for the glorious introduction.
thanks, ma'am. Now I
Thank you so
request
much, ma'am.
Jyoti, yes,
Yes,
Jyoti
Thank you,
ma'am.
Betaye.
Jyoti ma'am, for having me again.
Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. To welcome you
Uh,
on
for-
the board.
yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for your consent. And on behalf of Training and Placement Cell, ma'am, I welcome you again. And I hope your deliberation on the topic will make the interview to nerve-wracking experience to the pleasant one. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, I
So
hope I'm
over to
able
you,
to
ma'am.
add value.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So I guess we can start now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So as we did in the last class, I'll be starting off with an icebreaker activity. So the ones who are, experiencing a little bit of sleep right now, they can wake up and then we can enter into our session with full zeal and fervor. So let's have a few things coming up from you guys. I need to see you guys putting the date for today in the chat box. The first thing that you need to do is let's see if you can put the date for today in the chat box. The full date with the month, the year, the date, everything. Come on. Okay. Shubham, Garima, Anita. So I'm getting some new names today. Great. Kiran, Rani, Benita. Okay. So Kanya. So people are actually entering the chat right now. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. The second thing that you need to do right now is you have to write down the names of three things which are right now around you. You have to look around you. Let's see how aware you are of your surroundings. I want you to write the names of three things that are starting with R. R for rose. So let's see if you can write down the names of three things around you right now. The names should be starting with R. So have a look around you. Anju, R. You have to start with R. R से start होना चाहिए. तीन ऐसी चीजों के नाम लिखो जो आपके आसपास है और जो R, लेटर R से start होती है. Let's see. Okay. Okay, room heater. Yes, even I've got my room heater on. It's very cold. Red pen, roses. Okay, Neha, you do have roses in your room right now. That's good. Okay, racket, red pen. Shubham, three things. Ruby, three things. Let's see you guys rack your brains. Okay, Kanika says rack. Rabbit. Deepa, do you have a rabbit right now? Is it a pet that you have? Deepa. Okay,
Yes,
Pratibha.
ma'am.
Okay, great. Rabbit, racket, room. Yes, you are in a room right now. That's very smart, Deepa. Red chair, red basket, red pen. Okay. Uh, red pen, red shirt, red carpet. So you guys, okay, red me, Y3. Yes, even I've got red me. Okay, Sapna, great. So I think with these activities, we're already ready to, just roar into our session, guys. If yes, one last time, I want you to write bio, which means bring it on, not biology, but bring it on. So let's have you write bio in the chat box. Yes, Anita is ready. She says, bring it on. Shubham, Anita, Kiran, Neha, everyone's ready. Deepa, Ritu. Great, guys. Very good. Pratibha, Garima, Srishti, Ruby. So today we got more people entering the chat box and writing down. That's a good thing, good sign. Ankita, very nice. So I think with a lot of people putting in bring it on, I think we can start right now with our very important, very pertinent topic of the day, because you all are in future educational rock stars, as I often like to call you. So I'm sure everyone has this feeling which has a lot of what you can say, a lot of nervousness, a lot of apprehension, a lot of skepticism कि आगे अब हमें interview के लिए appear होना है, we are freshers, how things are going to turn out. There are a lot of changes happening. Changes like पहले हम सिर्फ written resume लेते थे, आजकल बहुत सारी organizations they are asking you for a video resume. And then पहले when we used to write our resumes, our main focus was on our educational qualifications, on our experiences. But now the tables have turned and we have to focus more on our skills and achievements. So there are these whole lot of things, just as we have a lot of differences as far as resume writing is concerned. Similarly, a lot of things have come up wherein you need to know as to what kind of skills do you need to have to just sail through your interview and just pass out with flying colors. So with this as an introduction, I think I would like to share my screen. I hope, Shubham, I am a presenter, so I can do that.
Yes, ma'am, you can do that.
Okay.
Let's make you a presenter from your different ID also.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, I'll just put it on full screen. Acha, Shubham, I'll just try once if I can, take it up as a full screen thing, because last time there was a problem. I'll just try
Yes,
that out.
yes, ma'am.
Can you see this slide right now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see, but not on slideshow.
Okay, and is this second slide visible? No.
Not yet. We are still on the first one.
Okay, let's just take 30 seconds if it is there, otherwise I have to go back to the normal thing. Okay, I think I'll have to go back.
Ma'am, now it's second slide, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So we'll go back to the first. Is the font visible, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, great. So before we actually go ahead and start off with what an interview is, how do you attempt it, what kind of skills do you need, I would just like to ask a few of you to mention this in the chat box for me as to what is the kind of feeling or what is the kind of thing you have in mind right now with regard to your interview. I mean, whenever you're going to be appearing for one, what are the kinds of feelings that you have right now? What is sifting through your mind? Ki interview hoga. How do you think? How do you feel about it? Let's have some answers. Okay. Okay. Anita says, I'm confident, which is a very good sign. Okay. Kanika says, a feeling of dread. Yes. Kanika, आपका जो answer, I think that is true for almost 98 to 99% of the people. Let's have some more answers. Nervousness. Ritu says nervousness. Sukanya, fear of going blank and getting rejected. Anxious, little bit of nervousness. Very great. Okay, so I have a lot of answers, and I think most of you would agree with the fact and the statement that has been made by Catherine Hepburn, who says death will be a great relief, no more interviews. So she's of the opinion that it's easier to die, but I wouldn't like to attempt any more interviews now. And as Jyoti ma'am also mentioned, it is indeed a nerve-wracking experience. So again, just as we talked of public speaking in the last session, which was like number one fear is that of public speaking, and number two is the fear of death. In a way, an interview is also like a kind of stage where you're required to speak in front of the interviewer, maybe your potential recruiter, and at times you even have a panel of people who are there to select or reject you. So it sure is a very nerve-wracking experience, as we can also see here. So, given the fact that it is indeed a nerve-wracking experience, there is no doubt about the fact that your college and your college authorities are absolutely right when they are conducting such kind of a session where they intend to prepare you for this kind of an experience. So, let's move on to the next slide, which says the topics that we are going to be covering today. First of all, we'll discuss what is an interview. Then we'll move on to what is job description. Now, job description or job specification, I think a lot of you must have seen the newspapers wherein they have this situation vacant, academic situation vacant kind of jobs. So usme exactly how that job has been described and what exactly are the kinds of attributes and traits that are required of you as a potential candidate, wo sab mentioned hota hai. So we have to try to understand usne kya mentioned hai and how do we go about writing a resume, and for that matter attempting an interview is concerned, we need to take up that. Then we will discuss why is an interview important. We will after that move on to the interview techniques. Then furthermore, we'll go to do's and don'ts of an interview. And then we'll see, are you ready for an interview? Then we'll also discuss what exactly is the kind of conduct, what exactly is the kind of mannerisms that you need to show at the venue of the interview. What are the kind of interview questions that are asked? How do we attempt these questions? Finally, it's very, very important to formally close the interview. Even this part of the interview is really, really important. So, right from the part that you enter the room where the interview is being conducted to the point where you are exiting that room, ye pura time you are being constantly under observation. And I think it's similar to what we did last time. एक evaluation apprehension हमारे दिल में रहता है. We have this nervousness क्योंकि हमें constantly कुछ आंखें हैं जो देख रही हैं. So closing the interview, and finally we will come to the conclusion as to what is the kind of things that you need to keep in mind. What is it that you need to get rid of? So that will be our conclusion to this entire session. Having said that, my first question to everyone is, what is an interview? So I think I will go to someone who was not there. Anita, since you are very active today, let's see what you have to say about an interview.
Yes, ma'am.
What is an interview according to you?
Ma'am, according to me, an interview is an interaction with an individual, onto which he has to face the face-to-face interaction with the other
Yeah.
person to
Mhm.
know everything about him in a broad manner.
Okay.
That's it, ma'am.
So yes, to quite an extent, your answer is correct. But let's see if someone else could add more to it. So let's ask Ritu, Ritu S. Ritu, if you could add something more to this. Ritu, are you there? Pooja?
Ma'am, I'm here.
Is that Pooja or Ritu?
Ma'am, Ritu here.
Okay, Ritu. So is there anything you could add to this?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, as for me, interview is something, a kind of formal interaction between the panel and the candidate, where few questions related to your profession is being kept up, and few questions related to your own qualification is being put up, where you have to be active and answerable in a very presentable manner so that you can qualify for your job.
Okay, now that was quite a comprehensive answer. One last time, I'd like to ask any one of the boys in the group. So, Jyoti ma'am, I can only see Shubham's name amongst the boys. Is there any other boy in this class? Shubham, is there any other boy in the class right now who's
Yes,
there
ma'am.
in the
We
meeting?
Ajit, we have, I think, Rishabh, Manish, Mahendra.
Okay, Rishabh, if you are there, I would like you to unmute yourself and tell me what, according to you, is an interview. Rishabh,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, please.
Ma'am, according to me, interview is a means formal conversation between two people in which uh, one person knows about the other person by asking different questions.
Okay, great. So, what I understand from the answers that the three of you have given me is number one, it's a formal interaction between two people, or maybe the candidate and the panel, and wherein they try to get to know more about you. As a matter of fact, someone did mention they try to know everything about you. Now, everything means they would like to know more about your personality. They would like to know about your qualifications, your work experience, your skills. How well do you fit into that company or institute's culture? Are you the right fit for the job? So basically, it's all about matching the kind of skills the candidate has and the kind of job that he is attempting an interview for. So is there a match? So it's like a match the following activity. But one thing that I wouldn't agree to what one of you said, I don't remember who mentioned that. It's not just a one way traffic. It's not just that the interviewer is wanting to know only about the interviewee. It's also the other way around. So जो interview attempt करने आता है उसे भी company or institute, because आपके केस में most of you would be going into educational institutions, so वहां जहां आप जा रहे हो, even you have the right to understand what kind of a culture, what kind of a work experience are you going to get out of this job. So it's a very common myth that we're going to bust today. It's not a one way traffic, it's not a one way street. It's basically an interaction where the information will flow across both the ends. Okay, so this is what an interview is all about. So, as we can see here, a very basic definition, it's a formal meeting in person, especially arranged for the assessment of the applicant. But, as you can see here in the third box, both the parties evaluate each other during the process. It's not just the candidate who's being assessed, but it's also the company or the institute that is also being evaluated. You get to know, okay, fine, I am the right fit for the job, but is this company or institute also right for me? So that is something that you need to understand. So moving on from here, let's go to the next slide then. So as I mentioned, it's a two-way street. So the employers, they try to understand आप कितने fit हो इस job के लिए, यहाँ के culture के लिए. Every school, every institute has a different kind of a work culture. So maybe the school that I worked in, that was Kamal Public School in Vikaspuri, is quite different from maybe the culture that you have in Delhi Public School. So it's not the same. So I need to understand whether I'll be able to fit in this kind of a culture or not. Here, the employee will try to sell off his or her skill set, his or her personality, the attributes of his or her personality. Okay, I'm a very hard worker, I'm a smart worker, I'm a great team player. So, क्या हमें इस तरह के लोगों की जरूरत है और क्या हम इस सेट में एक्चुअली आते हैं? So we try to understand this as an employer, and the employee tries to understand ये कंपनी मेरे लिए ठीक है या नहीं ठीक है. An interview is not there to prove what the candidate doesn't know. See, हम लोग mostly ये जाते हैं interview attempt करने के लिए ये सोचकर कि इंटरव्यूअर जो सामने हमारे बैठे हैं, जो पैनल हमारे सामने बैठा है, वो तो इसी इंटेंशन के साथ बैठे कि कैसे हम इस कैंडिडेट को नीचे दिखाएं या कैसे हम उसे बताएं कि हम कितने बड़े एक्सपर्ट्स हैं और इन्हें तो कुछ नहीं आता. But that's not the kind of intention with which the interviewer tries to come to an interview. As a matter of fact, most of the interviews that I have faced, I think I have found these experts to be one of the most humble people on earth. ठीक है, you may have a bad experience, इधर उधर एक आधा इंटरव्यू ऐसा मिल सकता है आपको जो बहुत ज्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है या बहुत ज्यादा आपको कंफर्टेबल फील नहीं करा रहे, but most of them, believe you me, most of them are the humblest of people on earth, and you can actually go ahead and learn a lot from them. So don't panic, there's not much to panic, because these people are the ones who already know their job well. उन्हें पता है कि एक इंसान इंटरव्यू देने आ रहा है, वो कितना इस समय टेंशन में है, परेशान है. They will go way out of their means to make you feel comfortable and they want to hear you out. वो आपको वहां पर जानने के लिए ही बैठे हैं, इसलिए नहीं बैठे हैं कि हमें इस बच्चे को नीचे दिखाना है या हमें इसे शो करना है कि तुझे कुछ नहीं आता है. So go ahead with that kind of an intention. Let's move on to the next thing. So as I mentioned, हमारा next topic रहेगा understanding the job description and the job specification. So this time I think I will ask Ajit. Ajit, are you there? Okay, Shubham, I guess you are there for sure. So I'll come to you. Shubham, are you there? Hello?
Good morning, ma'am.
Ma'am, Rahul is also there.
Okay,
Ma'am,
so
Ajit.
okay, Ajit, please tell me. So I need to ask you, have you ever been through any kind of ads in the newspaper regarding any job for a teacher or something at
Yeah,
any
ma'am.
point of time? Okay. So which subject are you specializing in, Ajit?
Ma'am, social science.
ओके सो एक सोशल साइंस टीचर के लिए यूजुअली आपने जब भी कभी जॉब्स के लिए देखा होगा, किस तरह की जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन देखी है आपने या क्या उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है यूजुअली?
They basically ask for the qualification
Correct.
or they mention the experience they require.
करेक्ट, राइट.
That field.
उसके
After
अलावा
that,
भी कुछ लिखा है आपने?
ma'am, sometimes there are age restrictions.
करेक्ट. So there could
And
usually there's a maximum age, minimum तो खैर नहीं होगी, obviously you'll go after your graduation or post grad. So yes, maximum age होती है कभी कभी.
yes, maximum age are sometimes mentioned.
Correct. Anything else? Okay. Let's go
Ma'am,
to
they mentioned the post.
who's that? If you could tell me your name.
Ma'am, Akansha Tiwari.
Yes, Akanksha, tell me. और क्या देखा आपने? And which subject are you
Ma'am, they also
specializing?
mentioned the post. Ma'am, I am
Okay.
specializing in English.
And English आप किन classes के लिए आप अपने आप को तैयार कर रहे हैं?
Ma'am, till 10th.
Okay, so till 10 तो आप किस category में आते हो? TGT, PGT?
Ma'am, TGT.
Okay. So अगर आप TGT के लिए apply कर रहे हैं, what exactly is the kind of qualification that is required of you?
Ma'am, they for
Bare
TGT they
minimum.
will ask for your. Sorry, ma'am.
जो bare minimum qualification है वो कितनी होगी?
Yes, ma'am. They'll ask for BA degree in English from any recognized university. Then they'll ask for
Correct.
B.Ed, and some schools also ask for CTET.
Yes, so
And
that's a yeah.
yes, ma'am. And they
So
also ask for
when you're talking
experience
of
or some
yeah, so
schools.
when you're talking
Yes.
of qualifications, number one, so you're absolutely right. इस तरह से वो qualification mention करेंगे. उन्हें अगर PGT चाहिए तो accordingly post grad चाहिए होगा. If they need a TGT, they'll ask for bare minimum graduation, and obviously दोनों में B.Ed तो mandatory है ही है. And कुछ jobs में they would ask for a CTET exam score as well. So you're absolutely right there. और उसके अलावा क्या देखा आपने?
Ma'am, in English, as I am also the student of English subject, so they ask for good communication skills,
Brilliant. Who's
particularly
that?
for the English. What, ma'am?
Could I have your name?
Ma'am, my name is Deepa.
ओके दीपा, यस यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. एक्चुअली मैं यहीं पर आना चाह रही थी. जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन हो गया, बट देन एज वी से स्पेसिफिकेशन में जैसे इंग्लिश है तो गुड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट आई थिंक गुड इन इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग या गुड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स जो हैं वो पीआरओ की जॉब से लेके, विच इज द पब्लिक रिलेशंस ऑफिसर से लेके वाइस प्रिंसिपल जॉब से लेके टीजीटी पीजीटी, आई थिंक एवरीवन इज रिक्वायर्ड कि आज की डेट में एक तो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स अच्छे हों. देन यू गाइज आर रिक्वायर्ड टू बी आईटी लिटरेट. MS ऑफिस पूरा आना चाहिए. आजकल यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू वर्क ऑन सॉफ्टवेयर. मैनुअल वर्क बहुत कम हो गया है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट कुछ अच्छे स्कूल्स में अगर आप जाएंगे, इवन आपकी जो लेसन प्लान्स है वो हैंड रिटन नहीं होते हैं. यू आर सपोज टू टाइप देम आउट एवरी डे and submit it to your required in charge or coordinator or someone before you leave and before you come for the next day. So इस तरह के बहुत सारे skills हैं. and एक और skill है जो कि मैं आप सबसे, दीपा are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
दीपा, एक और रिक्वायरमेंट है जो कि पर्सनालिटी रिलेटेड होती है. हम किस किस्म के इंसान से मिलना प्रेफर करते हैं? एक बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट.
Ma'am, which is experienced, has 2 years, 4 years experience. Like I was reading one, so there it was written that a person must be experienced, must have the experience of teaching.
So
in order to.
okay, so do you feel कि हर जॉब में हमें एक्सपीरियंस रिक्वायर्ड होता है? Are there no jobs for freshers?
Ma'am, there are like, but
Mhm.
particularly the one I
Correct.
was reading, and it's not
Okay.
mandatory that because a fresher, the experienced one was once a fresher only.
Yes,
So it's not
absolutely right.
mandatory.
Brilliantly said. Yes. So उसके अलावा लेकिन मैं जो बात करना चाह रही थी पर्सनालिटी रिलेटेड, आई थिंक दीज डेज पीपल वांट कि उनके यहाँ जो भी जॉब कर रहा है ही और शी शुड बी अ पर्सन with a cheerful disposition. Benita, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So Benita, when I say I need a person with a cheerful disposition, what does it mean?
Ma'am, which will handle all the things very patiently and which have better interaction with the people, and which can interact, which can communicate very easily to the people what he want to say or what he want to convey.
ओके, बेसिकली चेयरफुल डिस्पोजिशन मीन जिसको हम बहुत आम भाषा में हिंदी में बोलते हैं खुश रहने वाला इंसान अंदर
Yes,
से।
ma'am.
हाँ, सो जैसे आई थिंक आप लोग काफी बोलते हैं वो थोड़ा सन की सा लगता है या थोड़ा सा ऐसे इस तरह का लगता है कि वो पसंद नहीं करता लोगों से। सो यू शुड बी मोर ऑफ अ पीपल्स पर्सन इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ विच एवर जॉब यू आर अप्लाइंग फॉर। चाहे आप पीआरओ की जॉब के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, चाहे आप वाइस प्रिंसिपल की जॉब के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, ईदर वेज आपको एक ऐसा इंसान है रहना है जो लोगों से मिलने जुलने में विश्वास रखे और जिसे लोगों से बात करने में परेशानी ना हो। सो दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ पर्सन जो कि खुश रहता है हर सिचुएशन में, वेदर इट्स एन एडवर्स सिचुएशन। तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, ऑल्दो हम इसको बहुत सीरियसली नहीं लेते। एक बिल्कुल नीचे कहीं कहीं लिखा होगा और कई जगह तो लिखा भी नहीं होगा। So while you need to be a good team player or you need to be a good leader, you need to be good at communication skills, आपके qualifications, everything. But I think जो सबसे basic चीज आप में होनी चाहिए वो ये है that you should be able to interact with people well, you should be able to handle situations well, and you should basically be a person who has a cheerful disposition. एक खुश रहने वाला इंसान होना चाहिए आपको। We have a lot of problems in our personal lives. Maybe अभी आपके सेशन से पहले हो सकता है I might have had a fight with my husband, but I cannot bring it in here. I have to be a normal, fun loving person. And when I'm here, I have to be totally in here. So that's the kind of sincerity that is required out of you as a candidate. So I think काफी हद तक you guys have told me what exactly a job description means. So description is उसकी basic requirements क्या है job की, and specifications is the additional skills that you require to possess, or when you are applying for this job. So what do you have to go through? अब इसके लिए हम तैयारी कैसे करेंगे? How would we go ahead and get ready for this? So you have to go through the following carefully. Number one, the title of the position. So I think I will ask Sukanya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Sukanya, if you could tell me what does it mean when I say title of the position?
Ma'am, it will show us that what they are looking for. If they are looking for a specific subject teacher, then
Okay.
it will show that we are vacancy for particular social science teacher, maybe English teacher.
Correct. So basically,
Ma'am, it will just show the requirement.
yeah, so the kind of titles that you will usually see in the newspapers are, अगर academic point of view से मैं बोलती हूँ, so it could be anywhere like a TGT English or a PGT Economics or a vice principal, academic counselor, a PRO or a receptionist as they call it. तो इस तरह के टाइटल्स आपको एकेडमिक फील्ड में मिलते हैं। तो सबसे पहला ध्यान हमारा इस चीज के लिए जाना चाहिए, बिकॉज इफ द स्कूल इज गिविंग अस एन एड वेयर इन दे रिक्वायर अ पीजीटी इकोनॉमिक्स और आप इंग्लिश के बैकग्राउंड के हो, यू विल नॉट अप्लाई देयर। सो वो तो आप सीधा उसको आप आउट कर देंगे। आई मीन यू जस्ट कैन नॉट गो एंड अप्लाई इन एवरी 100 schools that are there around you. You have to be very specific. You have to see सबसे पहला आपका जो आपको कट ऑफ करता है या आपको उस लिस्ट में इंक्लूड करता है इज द टाइटल और द पोजीशन दैट यू आर अप्लाइंग फॉर. The second thing is the list of attributes that are required. So attributes, as we all know, the qualities or the traits that are required in a person to apply for a job. So as I think अभी तक हमने बहुत discussion कर लिया, obviously the education that is required. So if you have to, अब economics is a subject which is usually taught in 11th and 12th, because उससे पहले आप उसको social studies बोलते हैं. Economics is a part of social studies as a subject. So 11th and 12th को अगर आपने economics पढ़ानी है, and you are just a TGT. For example, I have done only economics honors, so I cannot go and apply for a PGT post. I have to make sure that I have at least done my MA in economics, I'm a major in economics, and then only I will apply for this post, because then only I'm eligible. अगर मैंने सिर्फ graduation किया है, then I will be only eligible to apply for a TGT SST post. So you have to see आपका education level match करता है, otherwise you'll have to tweak it a bit and see what best you can apply for. Otherwise, go ahead, complete your education, accordingly apply for the job. Then obviously we have the skills, जैसे आपने अभी कई लोगों ने बोला communication skills, or we can talk in terms of IT literacy, or you need a dynamic personality. I'm sure you must have heard of this word, dynamic personality, a pleasing personality. तो इस तरह के भी चीजें आ सकती हैं जो आपकी capabilities या आपकी personality related traits में आता है. And then obviously what is the kind of knowledge you have, आपने कहाँ से अपने courses किए हैं. I mean, those things also do matter. And then talking of attributes, कुछ attributes हैं जिनको हम इस तरह से categorize कर सकते हैं. Number 1 are the essential attributes, which means जिसमें आएगा आपका graduation, जैसे अभी किसी ने बोला PG, diploma, age factor, B.Ed किया है, C.Tet किया है या नहीं किया है. The second category is desirable character. Desirable means वो जो कि एक तरह से essential के ऊपर add on है और हम चाहते हैं कि ये characteristics इंसान में हो. So अभी we were just talking about cheerful disposition, a dynamic personality, IT literacy, so on and so forth. Then there are what you call contraindicators. ये बहुत जरूरी है, and you need to actually neutrally analyze yourself कि ऐसी कौन सी attributes हैं जो job specification या description में mentioned हैं लेकिन मेरे लिए एक handicap साबित हो सकती है. As in, not everyone may be good at communication skills, but you have to get yourself ready for the fact कि interview में किस तरह से मैं तैयारी करूं कि मेरा ये handicap जो है वो panel के सामने ना जाए. So that's why what they say is practice, 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 prepare, prepare, prepare. You just cannot go unprepared for an interview. That's the very important thing, because तभी आप अपनी weaknesses पे भी काम करेंगे when you will prepare for it. And last but not the least, you have to understand, अगर मैं vice principal की post के लिए apply करती हूँ, I need to understand what are the things that I'd be required to do if I am selected. मैं select तो हो जाऊँ interview में, but उसके बाद मुझे काम ही नहीं पता मुझे करना क्या है, कैसे करना है, तो मैं बहुत दिन तक वहाँ ना तो टिक पाऊंगी और ना मुझे कोई रखना चाहेगा. So it will be a sheer wastage of both time and effort on part of both the parties. So you need to understand these are the kind of things. So if I have to apply for, say, a vice principal's post, मुझे ये पता होना चाहिए कि CBSE में recently क्या क्या changes आए हैं with regard to the teaching learning process, because अभी COVID आया, NEP 2020 आया है. So ये सारे changes के बारे में मुझे पता होना चाहिए based on these things, what all things the CBSE has done. तभी मैं आगे चल के अपनी job duties के लिए ready रहूंगी. By the way, that also brings me to a very, very important question, which I would like to ask one of you in the group. So let's talk to Sapna. Sapna, are you there?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
Sapna, I'm sure you must have heard about NEP 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
So आप सिर्फ 2-3 lines में, can you just tell us what exactly is this policy paper all about? What exactly are they trying to do?
Ma'am, what I understand, it is about
Learning approach.
education, and we need to take care of the we are there to facilitate the child for the education.
Correct. So Sushmita, anything that you would like to say?
Yes, ma'am. It is more with inclusive education.
Correct.
And
any other points?
And ma'am, it is also given focus to the different languages, like mother tongue is included.
Yes, that's the 3-language formula that you are
Yes,
that you're talking
language
about.
formula.
Okay. Anjali D, if you're there. Okay, then Pratibha D. Prachi has already talked. Manisha. Okay, then there's the student, I think, ma'am, Jyoti is there in the group today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Jyoti, tell me, what do you know about NEP 2020?
Ma'am, it also talk about the flexibility of choice
Okay.
in the subject.
Yes, so,
and
yeah,
classes
subject
have
pool.
flex-
Yeah, subject pool. You can choose your subjects from the subject pool, correct? Okay, Anita says qualities, inclusivity, child centrism, Multilingualism, Pushpa says learning by doing. Yes, so basically there are a lot of things. Yes, the 5+3+3+4 curriculum, vocational education. Yes, a lot of emphasis has been laid on that. So the point here is, I don't know how many of you actually read this entire thing, but I think it's a 54 to 60 page document. And I think as future educators, you all need to go through it very, very carefully, because only then would you be equipped. There are a lot of things that they've put in for even teacher education. If you go through the document, you will get to see what exactly is required as a part of their skills, as a part of their experience, what exactly is required of a teacher of the future. And I think you'd probably the first few people amongst the entire lot of teacher community who will be actually experiencing the phase by phase way in which the NEPA is executed. So it's really important and relevant for you. Whenever you find time, actually you need to find time and go through this entire document. It's really, really important that you know everything about it. Okay, so yes, I'm very happy that a lot of you have put in a lot of points here, and that's a great thing, because that means you're aware of what is going around you. And I think as a teacher, that's one of the basic skills or traits that you need to possess. आपको पता होना चाहिए आपके आसपास क्या हो रहा है. So yes, then the next topic for today is, why is it important? Why do you think an interview is important? So Jyoti, if you could unmute yourself and tell me what according to you is the reason. Why do you think is an interview very, very important? So basically हम ये discuss कर चुके हैं पहले. It's just that I need someone to give me a brief thing about this as to what you've understood. Why do you think is an interview important? Anita.
Ma'am, interview basically gives us the desired behavior that we are looking for. It can give us that particular individuality that we are looking for.
So at
that's
this, you're talking from the point of view of an employer. Why is it
Yes, ma'am.
important from the point of view of the employee?
Ma'am, because
जैसे आप जाओगे, you will be an employee, या फिर
Yes,
आप
ma'am.
एक potential candidate बन के जाओगे, आपके लिए क्यों जरूरी है interview?
Ma'am, because I am desired to get a job. I literally want to be in that position that I wanted to be. So that's it, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So basically, जैसे हमने अभी discuss किया, I will just repeat my point. It's all about selection or matching the right skill set with the right kind of job. So एक तरह से हम ये कह सकते हैं कि जो employers हैं, उनके हाथ में एक magnifying glass है, and they are out to look out for the, जिसको हम बोलते हैं, एक जौहरी को ही एक हीरे की पहचान होती है. So they are out to look for people जिनके पास right kind of skills है, जो कि उनकी institute में या उनके company में काम कर सकते हैं. But on the other hand, एक छोटा, चाहे छोटा सा ही सही, बट एक मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास जो है वो कैंडिडेट के भी हाथ में है, और वो ये भी देखना चाह रहा है कि अगर मैंने 10 जगह अप्लाई किया है, जिसमें से मैं 5 जगह या 3 जगह शॉर्टलिस्ट हुई हूँ, तो मेरे लिए उनमें से बेस्ट कौन सी रहेगी, आगे जाके कहाँ पे मेरे लिए ग्रोथ का स्कोप है, कहाँ आई विल बी लर्निंग द मोस्ट. सी, आई अग्री, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आपकी सैलरी कितनी है. दैट्स वेरी, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली वी आर ऑल हियर टू अर्न आवर ब्रेड एंड बटर. So let's be very practical on this. Ki money does not matter for me. That's not the point. But at the same time, my personal opinion is that you should always make sure कि आपके लिए कहाँ पर आपको लगता है सीखने का मौका ज़्यादा मिलेगा. Now, frankly speaking, if I were to talk about the institute where I was working in, that I mentioned, Kamal Public School. So it was an upcoming school. It was a developing school. It was not something like a branded school or something. But believe you me, जितना मैंने वहाँ सीखा है, शायद मैं किसी ऐसे स्कूल में जाती जो already well established है, probably I wouldn't have learned anything there. I mean, I have been the organizing secretary for the national judo competition. Now, judo is not my department, but still I got an opportunity to work there. I was the academic head, so I was into academics as well. I was the one who brought about a lot of changes in the question paper designing, the curriculum development for the school. So I was just barely 29 at the age, of age when I joined that school. Had it been some other school, they would have probably not given me an opportunity because I was way too young for them. But because I was here, they wanted someone who can take up this challenge, can bring in new ideas, is dynamic. And that's why probably I was given a chance here, even though there were so many teachers around me who had been working there for the last 17 years or 18 years and so on and so forth. So please make sure जहां आपको learning opportunity अच्छी मिलेगी, भले ही थोड़ा पैसा कम मिल रहा है, don't get dejected कि I didn't get into any branded school. even if you're not getting into any branded school, just don't lose heart, because आपको जितना सीखने के लिए as a training ground एक छोटे स्कूल में मिलेगा, उतना एक बड़े स्कूल में अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा नहीं. So I'm not saying don't go ahead and apply in the branded school. Either of the ways, आप किसी भी स्कूल में जाओ, आपको दोनों जगह पर अपने लिए कुछ ना कुछ अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलेंगी. It's entirely your call कि आप उन अपॉर्चुनिटीज को आइडेंटिफाई कर पाते हैं या नहीं कर पाते, और how best you can take an advantage out of that. So the point here is, as I mentioned, it's a two-way street, it's a two-way road, and for both of you as parties, it is very important to be, very careful with the interview. And believe you me, it's not just you who has to prepare as an interviewee. Interviewers ko bhi tayari karni padti hai. I have taken several interviews in my school, and I think it's not an easy task to take the interview. So you both are in the same boat. Jitna aapko nervousness ho raha hai, थोड़ा बहुत नर्वसनेस इंटरव्यूअर को भी होता है कि मुझे भी तैयारी करनी है, किस तरह के क्वेश्चंस पूछने हैं, टू इंश्योर कि मैं गलत कैंडिडेट ना सिलेक्ट कर लूं फॉर माय इंस्टीट्यूट. सो यस, इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर बोथ ऑफ देम. एंड व्हाई एन इंटरव्यू? बिकॉज ये भी एक किस्म की आप कह सकते हैं मार्केट है, wherein you are trying to sell your qualifications, skills, experience and knowledge to the interview and finally land yourself a job offer. ऐसा बहुत बार होता है कि आपसे बेहतर कैंडिडेट जो है डोंट गेट बॉग डाउन बाय द फैक्ट कि मेरे साथ जो आसपास लोग बैठे हैं वो तो मुझसे कहीं ज्यादा क्वालिफाइड है, उनका एक्सपीरियंस मुझसे कहीं ज्यादा है, एंड आई डोंट स्टैंड अ चांस इन फ्रंट ऑफ देम. ऐसा नहीं होता है. क्या होता है इसमें? यू हैव टू सी आप कितना अपने आप को एज अ पर्सनैलिटी, एज अ प्रोफेशनल सेल ऑफ कर सकते हो. आपकी क्वालिफिकेशन सबकी है रिज्यूमे में, स्किल्स भी मेंशन्ड है रिज्यूमे में, एक्सपीरियंस भी मेंशन्ड है, नॉलेज भी मेंशन्ड है, बट अब अपने आप को एज अ कैंडिडेट कितना बेटर सेल ऑफ कर सकते हो वो मैटर करता है. सो द वन हु इज एबल टू सेल हिमसेल्फ ऑफ best as a professional is the one who land up the job, and not the person who is very experienced but doesn't have the required kind of ability to sell himself. So this is really really important, and यही आज हम कोशिश करेंगे कुछ हद तक सीखने की कि हम अपने आप को कैसे सेल ऑफ कर सकते हैं. So let's move on to the next slide. So rationale, as we've discussed, the goal of the interviewer is to determine if the candidate will prove to be an asset for the organization and whether the candidate is right for the position. While the goal of the interview is to convince the potential employee that you will be an asset to the organization and right for the position. So prepare responses to the likely questions. So you have to be well prepared कि आप कुछ स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, यू हैव टू बी वेल प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर देम. पहले से तैयारी करके जाना पड़ता है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, द वेरी फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दैट मोस्ट ऑफ यू विल एनकाउंटर इज टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ. ओके, यहाँ I would like to just share an experience with you which I recently came across. My daughter, she's just 21 years of age and she was also required to attend a job interview. And what happened with her was कि the resume was taken from her. उसको बोला गया अपना resume submit करो. The interviewee asked for it. और उसका रिज्यूमे फोल्ड करके टेबल पर रख दिया गया और उसको बोला ये मैं बाद में पढ़ लूंगी या पढ़ लूंगा, आप मुझे वो बताओ जो आपके रिज्यूमे में नहीं मेंशन्ड है आपके बारे में. So these are the kinds of ways in which the interviewer will try to trick you. They will try कि किस तरह से इससे और information निकाली जाए. So make sure सिर्फ अपना रिज्यूमे रट के या अपना रिज्यूमे क्रैम अप करके, you don't have to produce a photocopy of it in front of your interviewer. आपको उस समय मौका मिला है अपने बारे में जानकारी देने का. सो ट्राई टू थिंक ऑफ अदर थिंग्स, पहले से प्रिपेयर करके जाए. रिज्यूमे के अलावा आप अपने बारे में और क्या बताना चाहेंगे एक अपने इंटरव्यूअर को, बिकॉज रिज्यूमे इज मेंट टू बी जस्ट 1 to 2 pages. सीवी जो कि ज्यादातर यूज होता है एकेडमिक फील्ड में, व्हाट वी यूज इन द एकेडमिक फील्ड इज मोर ऑफ अ सीवी व्हिच इज करिकुलम वाइटे. दैट्स मोर लाइक अ ट्रैजेक्टरी की हम लाइफ में हमने क्या क्या किया है वैसे वैसे हमारा सीवी भी बढ़ता जाता है. सो इट्स मोर लाइक एन ऑटोबायोग्राफी. तो वो थोड़ा लंबा हो जाता है, मे बी अराउंड 3 to 4 pages आर अलाउड देयर, बट रेज्यूमे में सिर्फ 1 to 2 pages आर अलाउड. So depending on the kind of thing that is asked from you by an institute, you have to prepare accordingly. But the point is, जो आप on paper लिख रहे हैं, besides that, what are your skills? What are your achievements? How have you helped the institute to grow? अगर आप पहले से जॉब कर चुके हैं, नहीं तो आपको ये रेडी रखना पड़ेगा एज अ फ्रेशर. How would you contribute to the growth of the institute? So ये सारी चीजें you have to come up well prepared with. So you are the best candidate कब? Not just when you have the right qualification, but when you have the right attitude, you are motivated, you have the right kind of passion and the right kind of skills. तब जाकर finally you appear to be the best candidate to the institute, and then only will you be selected for the job that you're applying for. Now, moving on to the next question. What are the kind of interview techniques that are usually followed across the country or across the globe as far as interview conduct is concerned? तो किस तरह के interviews usually conduct किए जाते हैं? One is the traditional interviews. I think if I talk about our times, when we were the ones who were potential candidates, तो हमारे time पे usually इस तरह के interviews होते थे, which were called the traditional interview. They used to go through the resume में से questions पूछेंगे. Okay, tell me about your graduation. Okay, you're from Miranda House, so tell me how many what did you do? Did you go in for any kind of an internship when you were in Miranda House? So they'll ask you questions जो resume में mentioned है, उसी में से they'll try to ask you more questions. The questions used to be very direct and usually closed-ended questions. So if someone could tell me what is a closed-ended question? Ritu.
Okay.
Okay, who's that? आप बोलिए, कौन बोल रहा है?
Ma'am, I was about to tell the closed-ended questions, ma'am, like on to which we have to give the answer in yes or no.
Perfect.
Rather than that, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We cannot.
And what's your name, please?
Ma'am, Anita.
Okay, Anita. Yes. So you're absolutely right. ये ऐसे questions होते हैं जिसमें आपको सिर्फ yes and no में answer देना होता है. So these are traditional interview questions that you may usually have. Then we have certain case-based interviews. So case-based में एक hypothetical situation दी जाती है. जैसे अगर मुझे किसी को interview करना है तो मैं उनसे ये पूछूंगी, suppose you have a student in your class who is constantly coming late to the class. So how would you handle this kind of a situation, and how would you ensure that this child becomes punctual in as far as attending the classes is concerned? Now, this is a case that I have given you. Yeah, there is this one student who is constantly badgering the other students in the class, who सब बच्चों को बहुत तंग करता है. So how would you attempt to solve this problem of indiscipline in your class? So इस तरह से कोई case based या situation based questions आपको दिए जा सकते हैं, basically to test your analytical skills, to test your competency as far as troubleshooting is concerned. So I'll give you a problematic case. I will tell you how would you I'll ask you this question, how would you tackle this kind of a situation? तो अभी जिस तरह के इंटरव्यूज हो रहे हैं, ज्यादातर जो है उसमें या तो हम केस बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं या ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं जिससे इंसान की कॉम्पिटेंसी या उसके अंदर क्या क्वालिटीज हैं या वो कितना स्किल्ड है, उस तरह के क्वेश्चंस आएंगे. जैसे मैं आपसे बोल सकती हूँ, if you suppose if you're a primary wing teacher, so I might as well ask you, how will you attempt, or how would you try to introduce adjectives to maybe a class 2 student or a class 1 student, because आजकल बहुत जल्दी start हो जाती है ये सारी चीजें. So let me ask Pushpa, if you could tell me, if I were to ask you a question
Yes,
like this, how would you start off with the introduction of adjectives in your class? आप कौन से subject में हैं वैसे generally?
ma'am, my subject is science and mathematics.
Okay, so let me ask a question from science. How would you introduce the concept of photosynthesis in your class?
Yes, ma'am. For that, ma'am, first of all, I will tell the students, have you observed the plants?
Yes.
And then I will ask the students that, do you think that what are the essential things that a plant need to grow?
Mm-hmm.
So they will think, maybe they will be able to answer or not.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I will ask one question like, do you think that plants which are exposed to sunlight, they grow more? The plants which are under the shade of means which are not exposed to sunlight, they will grow.
Okay.
Which one of
Okay.
them will grow?
Correct.
From there, ma'am, I will introduce and I will tell. Today we
Okay.
will study about photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis to
Okay, brilliant. So I think, yeah. Okay, so Pushpa has shared with us one technique. I think another way you can start off with is probably you can take them out for a nature walk. बच्चों को बहुत अच्छा लगता है पार्क में, मैम गार्डन में ले गई थी हमें, वहाँ उन्होंने पौधे दिखाए. So that's another way you can do that. And I think एक बहुत ही ट्रेडिशनल टेक्निक है जहाँ हमारी टीचर्स हमें जर्मिनेशन के लिए कुछ सीड्स बोलते थे कि इसको आप जर्मिनेट करके लाओ. I think most of
Yes,
us used to get this as a holiday homework. ये तो mandatory holiday homework होता था कि जाओ जर्मिनेशन एक्टिविटी करके लानी है, आपको कुछ सीड्स डाल के you have to bring it to class and show it to everyone. So that could also be a starting point जहाँ से आप further photosynthesis की field में जा सकते हैं further. So yes, you're absolutely right. Now I need one teacher from the English department to just unmute and tell me your name. Anyone from the English department?
Yes, ma'am, Akansha.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Ma'am, Akansha.
Akanksha. Okay, Akanksha. So मेरा जो question था, I'm sure you know what adjectives are, describing words. So आप इसको कैसे introduce करेंगे class में?
Ma'am, first I will ask students some questions regarding how is the weather outside, what color shirt are you wearing,
Correct.
or like, tell me few qualities of your best friend, and
Perfect.
then
Brilliant.
I will move on to the adjectives or words which are used to describe a person, a noun, or a pronoun.
Okay, great. So that's your way, and I think it's a very nice way of introducing adjectives. Students will really enjoy because उन्हें पता भी नहीं होगा कि मैम ने कुछ पढ़ाना शुरू कर दिया, so they'll feel कि मैम normal questions पूछ रही हैं, they'll be willing to answer such questions. I would also like to share one way in which I try to teach adjectives to students. And what I do is I indulge them in a language game. I am sure English students जितने भी हैं यहाँ पे, they know what language games are. So normally what I do, मतलब बहुत छोटे बच्चों के लिए तो नहीं, maybe not first, second, but fourth, fifth तक के बच्चों के लिए जब हम चले जाते हैं, so what I do is I ask them to play this game called alliteration in adjectives. So alliteration होता है जिसमें first letters या first sounds जो होती है वो same होती है. So what I do is I give them a word like cat. So CAT, cat. Now cat starts with C. तो मैं उनको ऐसे बोलूंगी, इस cat को डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए कुछ ऐसे आप वर्ड्स दीजिए जो cat के आगे लग सकते हैं. But all those letters, the twist here is all those words which I use to describe the cat should start with C. So cute cat, clumsy cat. So इस तरह से I would like to introduce adjectives to maybe the primary wing students, fourth, fifth, or maybe the middle wing students, sixth, seventh. So that way they enjoy playing this game and they will come up with some new words. And जैसे clumsy बोला तो vocabulary भी enhance हो गई उनकी. So this is going to be my way, but I totally agree with the manner in which Akanksha has come up as to how she would introduce adjectives. Now see, the point here is अभी you get a chance to see कि हाँ अच्छा मैं सोच सकती हूँ कि मुझे क्या आंसर देना है, but when you're in an interview you have to have that presence of mind कि immediately you should be able to come up with an idea. So that exactly is what you have is case based or competency based questions, and then we have behavioral interviews as well. Now इसमें किस तरह के questions आते हैं? Usually these questions will start with phrases like tell me. Okay, so this is how this question will start, or describe, or when did you last do something. So इस तरह के questions होंगे, कुछ open ended भी होते हैं, कुछ closed ended भी होते हैं. So maybe I could ask you a question, जैसे अभी मैंने बोला, tell me how would you teach adjectives in class, or describe how would you start with a topic on photosynthesis in class. So usually these are the kind of questions that you will get to ask. So hypothetical situation भी हो सकती है and real life situation भी हो सकती है, so you can have this. So primarily in सब questions के जरिए what exactly is the interviewer trying to know about you? Is there anyone in the class who can tell me इस तरह के questions जो हमने अभी discuss किए हैं, how would they help an employer to gauge whether you are the right candidate for the job or not? Is there anyone in the class who could share this with us?
Ma'am, can I speak?
Please share your name and then you can go ahead.
Ma'am, this is Anita speaking, ma'am, again.
Yes, Anita, tell us.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if they ask us about all those questions which are open-ended or which are based upon the hypothetical situations, they
Yes.
basically try to analyze our the flexibility of our mind, that how
Yes.
flexible we can think and how
Okay.
we can tackle the situation when we are there at that particular time. So
Correct.
yes, ma'am.
सो प्राइमरली इसके थ्रू ये पता चलता है आप कितने कॉन्फिडेंट है, हाउ वेल यू कैन थिंक आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स, आपकी प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड कितनी है, आप मोटिवेटेड कितने हैं, और आगे चल के आपके अंदर ये चीज कितनी रहेगी कि हाँ मैं एंथुजियास्टिकली नई नई चीजें डिवाइस करूँ, नई नई मीडियम्स डिवाइस करूँ, नई नई किस्म की आइडियाज इवॉल्व करूँ, सो दैट आई कैन टीच माई स्टूडेंट्स वेल. So as I mentioned, जैसे हमने उस दिन भी डिस्कस किया था, this the attention span these days is very low as 3.5 minutes, and बच्चों के लिए तो it is like very low. So how do you engage your learners in the future? So that's a question that each and every institute has in mind कि अगर हम एक टीचर को एम्प्लॉय कर रहे हैं, वो कितने अच्छे से हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ा भी सकती हैं, नंबर वन, बट एट द सेम टाइम ऐसे पढ़ाएं कि बच्चे एंगेज रहे, दे आर टोटली इंटरैक्टिव एंड दे आर टोटली एंगेज थ्रू आउट द एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द लेसन प्लान. So these are things. Now see, why I'm sharing this with you is I myself has interviewed a teacher jahan par there was a written test of 20 marks. This teacher scored 20 on 20. So which made her obviously one of the best choices that we had amongst the entire lot of candidates. But जब उनका एक demo lecture लिया गया, she was neither able to handle the students. There was utter chaos and indiscipline in the class, and उनकी खुद की वॉल्यूम बहुत लो थी बोलते समय, तो मुझे ही आधी चीजें समझ नहीं आ रही थी कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली शी ट्राइंग टू से, और ना ही उनका एक्सप्लेनेशन बहुत अच्छा था. सो ऑब्वियसली वी डिसाइडेड कि ये 20 on 20 वाली मैम को हम नहीं लेंगे, but we went ahead with other teachers who were far more enthusiastic, more exuberant, more engaging, more interactive with the students. So that's the reason why I'm saying कि सिर्फ आपकी qualifications और सिर्फ आपका experience matter नहीं करता. All these kind of skills are very very important, so start working on these skills. So let's move on to the next thing. How do we now prepare for an interview? Okay, so there are different types of competencies that the employers are looking for. Managerial. So even if you're a teacher, now this is something जो कि मैंने बहुत बार अपने lectures में और जगहों पर भी use किया है in my webinars. As teachers, आने वाले time में आपके लिए ज़रूरी है समझना that the teacher is no longer going to be a sage on the stage, but she or he will be required to be a guide by the side. Is there anyone in the class who would explain what I just mentioned? I just said a teacher would be no longer required to be a sage on the stage, but he or she would be required to be more of a guide by the side. And this has to do with the NEP 2020 also. Is there anyone who can tell me what does this mean?
Ma'am, may I?
First, what's your name, please?
Ma'am, Ritu.
Okay, Ritu, please tell us. जो मैंने बोला, can you explain it to your companions in the class, your colleagues in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, here we can talk about, like, as you said, it has been discussed in an NEP also. It has been discussed that we teachers have to be a facilitator. It does not
Very
mean
good.
we have to present everywhere with the students at every stage of their life, but we have to facilitate them, and we have to guide in, and we have to make them in such a manner that they'll be perform anywhere and wherever they want.
I think there couldn't have been a better explanation to this. Good job done. बहुत अच्छे से आपने explain किया. I think this term facilitator आपने बहुत बार पढ़ी भी होगी अपने curriculum में. So what they expect out of a teacher right now is आपको खड़े होकर अपने टेबल के पास या blackboard के पास खड़े होकर lecture नहीं देना है. That's not what is expected from a present day teacher. This was a role which was played way back, during our times or maybe our times before our generation. जहाँ पर टीचर खड़े आते थे क्लास में, दे यूज्ड टू गिव अ लेक्चर. हम लोग भी टीचर से डरते थे, हमें हमेशा ये लगता था बस सुनना है और नोट्स बनाते जाना है. दैट वाज द ड्यूटी दैट अ स्टूडेंट वाज रिक्वायर्ड टू परफॉर्म. सो आज की डेट में यू हैव टू गिव देम वेरियस टास्क, वेरियस प्रोजेक्ट्स, वेरियस एक्सपेरिमेंटेशंस. अ टीचर इज रिक्वायर्ड टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट rather than just standing there giving a lecture and just talking about the entire things in the world and just leaving the class without any interaction or communication with the students. So yes, आपको खड़े होकर एक भाषण करता नहीं बनना है कि सिर्फ खड़े हुए. सेज ऑन द स्टेज मींस भाषण देने के लिए नहीं खड़े हुए, बट यू हैव टू बी अ गाइड बाय द साइड. आप बच्चों को इंस्ट्रक्शंस दे सकते हैं, आप उन्हें बता सकते हैं करना क्या है, एंड देन यू हैव टू जस्ट स्टैंड and let them do what they are trying to do, how they're coming up with various solutions to different kinds of problems. So that is the kind of role that you are required to play now. And as I mentioned, यही learner centric approach या इंटरैक्टिव एड्स, ये सब चीजें जो हम एनईपी में पढ़ रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं अल्टीमेटली द एंटायर क्रक्स इज दिस कि आपको अब एक कोच की तरह काम करना है, एक मेंटोर की तरह काम करना है, एक अथॉरिटेरियन डाइडैक्टिक या अथॉरिटेरियन इंस्ट्रक्शनिस्ट की तरह काम नहीं करना है. So you need to develop this kind of a competency in you as a person. So it's more about managing your students. So आपका leadership skills, decision making skills, behaviorally you have to be good at communication skills, teamwork, interpersonal skills, and technically obviously अगर आप economics के teacher हैं तो आपको economics की knowledge होनी चाहिए. You just cannot be, content is always the key, your knowledge is always the key. I'm not denying the fact that it is one of the most important things. So technically, functionally, you should be able to perform your job well to the best of your ability as far as the job is concerned. So these are the type of competencies. And behavioral interview questions, जैसे describe a time when you had to work with someone you didn't like. Now this, you'd be surprised to see कि इसका पढ़ाई लिखाई से या the kind of subject or the kind of instructions or the kind of facilitation that you're doing इसका उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है, बट it's again a hypothetical situation because आप स्कूल में जब जा रहे हैं, you're not just there to teach your students, you'll be interacting with your colleagues, you will have to work as per the instructions of the school authorities, so there are a lot of things that you have to do besides teaching. तो आपसे ऐसे क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जा सकते हैं जिनका शायद टीचिंग से लेना देना ना हो. So maybe a time when you had to work with someone you didn't like. Give us an example of something particularly innovative that you've done to make a difference in your workplace or maybe your classroom. Tell us about a time when you spearheaded an event or a project or an assignment. So if I were to talk about it, I had spearheaded a lot of, every year I used to spearhead the annual function of the school. So I can go ahead and talk about it. कि exactly मैंने क्या क्या काम किए हैं. Yeah, as I was just sharing with you, कि अगर मैंने judo championship में organizing secretary का काम किया था, so what exactly were the kind of things that I had done at that point of time? So when I will share all these details with them, they'll get to know कि yes, I possess leadership skills, I'm a good team player or a team leader, I have organizational skills, I am good at communication skills, I'm good at decision making. ये सारे skills automatically उनके सामने आएंगे. Because you cannot write in your resume, I am a good decision maker, I am a good team player. So ऐसे आप अपने resume में नहीं लिखते, लेकिन interview will give you an entire full chance to bring out your skills, to bring out the fact कि आपने क्या क्या अच्छे काम किए हैं, उसके थ्रू ही आपके skills जाने पहचाने जा सकते हैं. So you have to get ready for these kind of questions as well. Then what are the type of interviews? So as I mentioned, अभी COVID के बाद से there are a lot of changes that have happened. It's not just you have to be off site कि आप जहाँ पे गए हैं वहां पर आपका इंटरव्यू होगा. आजकल virtual interviews भी हो रहे हैं. You have telephonic interviews as well. So at times what happens is these people will call you. That is the initial screening जहाँ पर आपको shortlisting की जाती है. तो क्योंकि there will be maybe hundreds and even thousands of applications in different areas. So उसमें से सबसे पहले they have to shortlist कि कितने लोग हैं जिनको हमें actually written test या maybe for an interview बुलाना है. So that is the first primary initial screening that takes place. Then a one-on-one जिसमें एक ही interviewee है, एक ही interviewer है. Then you could have a panel or a group. Then across a meal, usually academics में नहीं होता, but yes, corporate level पे we do have social setting में एक थोड़ा personal level पे, not a very professional setting, but this may happen, but not in academics. कभी भी schools या institutes के लिए ऐसे नहीं होता. And then on-site interview, wherein you are called to the school. Obviously ये ज़्यादातर अभी तक चल रहा है जहाँ पर आपको school में बुलाया जाता है. Some schools even give a round of their school for the teachers to see, for the potential candidates to see कि किस तरह से school में सब कुछ चल रहा है. So interaction with the team and the ambience. Then कुछ मॉडल्स भी हो सकते हैं. मतलब जब आप आते हैं इंटरव्यू के लिए तो किस तरीके से इंटरव्यूअर आपका इंटरव्यू हैंडल करते हैं. सो सबसे पहले फॉर्मेलिटीज होंगी. ओके, गुड इवनिंग, गुड मॉर्निंग, प्लीज टेक अ सीट. सो मे बी कई इंटरव्यूज तो ऐसे भी बोलते हैं कि सो हाउ डिड यू रीच द स्कूल टुडे. So maybe you'll tell them I came by a cab or I came driving all the way or whatever. So इस तरह से थोड़ा आपको comfortable feel कराते हैं. And then they will start asking further questions based on your, सबसे पहले they'll ask about your knowledge, your education and then work experience. And फिर they'll move on to other questions जहाँ आपकी accomplishments, आपकी achievements. And since you guys are freshers, so आपसे जो questions पूछे जाएंगे, there'll be more to do with your college activities. So I don't know how many of you have been very, very active with regard to your college activities, but even if you haven't and you still have an option, please go ahead and participate because आपके पास कुछ होगा तो ही आप बोल पाओगे. And believe you me, आप झूठ नहीं बोल सकते. You cannot lie to your interviewers. They're way too smart to understand whether you're being a genuine candidate or whether you're just making up stories. And the minute they realize this, that you're making up stories, you are out of the league. You no longer stand a chance to, attempt the interview further or get selected for the job. So start participating, be more aware. जैसे अभी मैंने आपसे NEP 2020 का पूछा. So be aware of what is happening around you and start participating a lot. And finally, after the questions are done, धीरे धीरे we move towards the conclusion of that particular question, of that particular topic. Then we move on to another topic and we keep moving on to different topics and finally we come to a close. Now this is called the waterfall model, जहाँ पर ऊपर से पानी आ रहा है. तो पहले initially आराम से आता है, फिर थोड़ा वो रफ हो जाता है, वायलेंट हो जाता है, which means you're actually getting into this scenario of a proper interview. And फिर नीचे आकर वो फिर placid हो जाता है, शांत हो जाता है. So this is the conclusion part of it. So that's why it's called the waterfall model. Then we have a wasp model. वैसे तो wasp I think मधुमक्खी की species से ही related एक insect है, but this is an acronym here. W standing for welcome, A standing for ask, S standing for supplying the information by the interviewee and seeking information by the interviewer. And then finally P standing for parting, yani ab aap juda ho rahe hain. So there will be a firm handshake, a wishing, okay, thank you so much, from both the ends, from both the parties, and then you will part. Aap bichhad jayenge, aap alag ho jayenge. That's how it is. So you would have a VOS model, more or less it's the same. Then how do you go ahead and prepare for an interview? So सबसे पहला step आपके लिए ये रहेगा, if you're going to a school, you should know about that school as to what is the mission statement, the vision statement of the school. वो चाहते क्या है life में, मतलब what is their agenda. Obviously education is the agenda, but उसके अलावा if you've seen a lot of schools put it down, जैसे मैं KPS में थी, so KPS acronym जो था उसके लिए we had written knowledge, perfection and strength. So when you are answering these questions, अगर आप उसमें knowledge word का इस्तेमाल करेंगे, perfection word का, although perfection is not a very good word to use in an interview, I'll come to that later, and then strength, that we'll be working on on building the strengths of the students. So ये चीजें अगर आप अपने interview में डालते हैं, it comes across as a very good impression कि yes, you've taken out time to study about the school, its culture, its mission, its vision, and you are actually interested in this job. आप किसी चीज में इंटरेस्टेड होगे तभी तो उसके बारे में और जानना पसंद करोगे. अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं होगे, you won't be willing to listen. So, or you won't be willing to, research about it. Now, my point here is, I'd ask Ritika Mehta, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ritika, if you could tell me, अगर आपको institute के बारे में जानना है, what are the best ways in which you can get to know about an institute, और अगर आप कल को company में जाना चाहते हो तो company.
Ma'am, nowadays the most useful way is to search on the Google sites.
Correct. So which means, yeah, yahan I'll just elaborate on the points that you're mentioning. Number one, the website of a school or a college that you're. See, CBSE has made it mandatory for every school कि आपको एक website बनानी ही बनानी है. So there is no school on this earth now that will not have a website. So it is mandatory for every school to have a website. So just go ahead, look out for the website. वहाँ उनका mission statement, vision statement, किस तरह से टीचर्स काम करते हैं, सिलेबस की भी कॉपीज होती है, हॉलिडे होमवर्क की भी कॉपीज होती है, जो एग्जाम्स हो चुके हैं उनके क्वेश्चन पेपर्स की भी कॉपी आपको मिल सकती है, किस तरह के इवेंट्स होते हैं वो भी आपको कॉपी मिलेगी, उसके अंदर सब कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी. सो यस, परफेक्ट. वन इज टू लुक फॉर द वेबसाइट ऑफ द स्कूल. अनदर थिंग, और क्या बोलेंगे?
Second, we can have a rough look around the school, like we can talk to the other colleagues if it is possible, or to the students.
Very good. Very good. Go ahead and try to locate people who are still working in the school or have earlier worked with the school. So try to locate these people, try to get in touch with them, get to know more about the work culture. Very good. Any other thing besides this? Anyone else?
This much only, ma'am, from my side.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else would like to attempt this question? Is there any other way in which you can get to know about a school?
Ma'am, we can check the reviews.
One by one. Who was talking about reviews first?
Ma'am, Sushmita.
Yes, Sushmita. Reviews, yes, you're right. क्या करेंगे आप उसमें?
Ma'am, there the parents and students also write the reviews about the school.
Correct.
So we can check that.
So yes, and उसके अंदर अगर किसी का खराब review भी है, so you will get to know what are the challenges that school and the faculty of the school are facing, और आप वहाँ कैसे contribute कर सकते हो in terms of value addition. How can you help resolve those kind of problems? So be prepared for those questions and be more forthcoming कि इस तरह का issue अगर आएगा, this is what I want to do. Correct. So Sushmita, you're right. Any other thing that you'd like to add on to this, anyone?
Via news, we can get to know about the recent events and about the employer.
Yes, these days all schools are very media savvy, and usually बड़े events के लिए media coverage मिलती है. So who's that, by the way? Could I have your name?
Shubham.
Correct, Shubham. One thing which none of you mentioned, but I think it's very important. Yeah.
Ma'am, skill and experience of that particular school.
Correct. Okay, correct.
The person who is interviewing me.
Okay, I think there's a girl who's wanting to say something. Let's see what she has to say. Please give your name and tell us what you.
Ma'am, this is Deepa Rathore.
Yes, Deepa.
Ma'am, we can talk to students also. So
Okay.
they can also provide us information about the school.
Correct, correct. But there's one more source of reliable information that you can come across. And guys, please build your LinkedIn accounts. I'm sure everyone has heard of LinkedIn.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
while I see a lot of students and a lot of professionals sparing a lot of time on Facebook, please believe you me, Facebook is not something which is a professional, a professional stage wherein you need to flaunt your professional achievements. It's more of an informal kind of a platform. अगर आपको professionally जाना है, look at LinkedIn. जितने भी स्कूल प्रिंसिपल्स हैं या कई बार स्कूल के पेजेस भी होते हैं which you can actually follow, and वहीं पर there is this choice of clicking on this button which has visit the website. तो आपका एक ही जगह पे बहुत सारा काम हो जाएगा. Start being more active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the talk of today, and that's one place where you need to be very, very active. Even if you're not active on Facebook or any other form of social media, all of your 18 plus, you can anytime start out. And I think technically you guys are far more ahead in, than most of us. So just go ahead today itself. नेक्स्ट सेशन में मैं आप सबसे पूछूंगी कितने लोगों ने लिंक्डइन पे अपना अकाउंट सेटअप किया है. बिलीव यू मी, आप आज ये बात सुन रहे हो, दोज यू विल टेक इट अप सीरियसली, यू विल थैंक मी आफ्टर 2 or 3 years कि अच्छा हुआ मैम ने इस बारे में बात की. ओके, सो गो इनिशिएट एंड एक्टिवेट योर लिंक्डइन अकाउंट्स टुडे इटसेल्फ. देखो, समझो किस तरह से अपनी प्रोफाइल वहां सेटअप करनी है. यू कैन इवन हंट फॉर जॉब्स. रिक्रूटर्स आर वेरी एक्टिव देयर. You can look for jobs. I have seen people of my age looking for jobs, open to work. They're mentioning what exactly do they want. वो 2-3 दिन अपनी पोस्ट डालते हैं and उसके बाद एक हफ्ते बाद usually लोगों का ये आ जाता है response कि I found my job here. I am now the vice principal of so and so school. So it's a very, very good platform to be on. ओके, सो एंड प्लस जैसे आप लोग बोल रहे हैं पुराने या नए जो भी फैकल्टी के लोग हैं उनसे आप बात कर सकते हैं. मोस्टली जो डायनेमिक पर्सनालिटीज हैं मोस्टली वो आपको लिंक्डइन पे मिलेंगी. आई एम नॉट सेइंग एवरीवन इज ऑन लिंक्डइन, बट आपको काफी सारे लोग वहां पर मिल जाएंगे. प्लस प्रिंसिपल लेवल, वाइस प्रिंसिपल लेवल, चेयरपर्सन लेवल के लोग तो ऑलमोस्ट सारे वहां पर हैं. तो आप उनका कंटेंट पढ़ के, उनकी पोस्ट पढ़ के जान सकते हैं कि उनकी पर्सनालिटीज क्या है, वो उनके आइडियल्स, उनकी वैल्यूज क्या है, एंड देन फोकस ऑन देम एंड प्रिपेयर योर आंसर्स अकॉर्डिंगली. यू विल रियली बेनिफिट अ लॉट. So guys, that is your homework for today. I'm not a very homework kind of person, but still this is your homework for today. Go and activate your LinkedIn accounts. And there's a huge world waiting out for you there. Okay, so this is the first thing. Research this company and the role. ध्यान से पहले, सबसे पहला काम है एड जो आपने पढ़ी उसको बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ो, देखो उसमें क्या मांगा है, and try to use the words mentioned in the advertisement in some which way or the other during answering your questions. अगर डायनेमिक वर्ड है तो कोशिश करो वो वर्ड आपके किसी आंसर में यूज हो. चेयरफुल डिस्पोजिशन है, ट्राई टू यूज दैट. IT literacy है, try to use that. Communication skills है, try to use that word in your answer as well. That will go ahead a long way to create a good impression. Second, practice the potential questions and responses. I will be taking up a few questions in class today. Then perfect your verbal and non-verbal communication. हम already communication topic में verbal, which is LSRW, and आपका non-verbal, which is body language, हमने उस दिन काफी कुछ डिस्कस किया था, so उन पर काम करना सीखिए. Do a mock interview if feasible. Now this is where आपके जो lecturers हैं आप उनकी help भी ले सकते हैं. You can even go to a mentor and seek help. So do these kind of things because once you're prepared mock interview के साथ तो आपको actual interview में उतना ज़्यादा nervousness feel नहीं होगा. Then choose an appropriate dress for the day. I think for most of you as teachers, जहाँ पर companies वगैरह में, I'm just taking an example. When you are preparing for a corporate level kind of an interview, usually girls wear Western dresses there, like maybe a formal suit or a formal, a skirt and a blazer with a top. So these are the kind of dresses that you would usually get to see when a person is preparing for a company interview. But when it comes to institutes or schools, either you go ahead with a sari or you go ahead with a proper formal suit. But suit se zyada sari prefer ki jati hai. And then there are certain schools jisme western wear allowed hai, so you could wear a trouser and coat kind of a thing also. So just make sure that you're well dressed for your interview. It's not as if ki haan hum kitchen se nikle ya drawing room se nikle ya bedroom se nikle aur school aa gaye. Okay, it looks very, very bad. This also reminds me of a very funny incident that I experienced in school. I was sitting in my cabin, and there is this one parent who comes to my cabin and he wants to know something about his child, and I see him wearing a morning gown. I think there's someone on unmute, if you could mute yourself. So there is this parent who comes to ask me something about his child or verify some information, and he's in his morning gown. And I ask him, "Ki sir, aap school aaye hai, so I mean, why are you coming in this form or this kind of an attire? Please, I would suggest that you come properly dressed to school when you're coming here. After all, it's a professional place." And the answer that he gave me was कि मैम मैं यहाँ सब्जी खरीदने आया था तो मैंने सोचा अपने बेटे के बारे में स्कूल में पता करते जाऊँ. So this is, see, the way हम इस समय parent के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, this is exactly the way an employer or a potential employer would think about us if we are not dressed properly. And when it came to my admission, I am an alumnus of Holy Child School. And this is what my parents tell me, कि जब वो लोग एडमिशन फॉर्म लेने के लिए गए थे तो वहाँ एक आध पेरेंट थे जो अपने मॉर्निंग जॉगिंग सूट में आए हुए थे एडमिशन फॉर्म लेने के लिए. एंड दीज काइंड ऑफ पेरेंट्स वर टर्न बैक फ्रॉम द स्कूल सेइंग कि प्लीज कम ड्रेस प्रॉपर्ली and then we will give you the admission form. So although it may sound very weird to you कि क्या जरूरत है इतना वो करने की, but this is how it is. I mean, professional world में these things matter a lot. Then research the salary expectations in advance. Now again, I'll come back to this question also. Never say कि I don't know, I'm a fresher and I wouldn't like to say anything on this. You decide what kind of a salary would you like to give me. Now this is the worst answer that you could ever give to a question like this. So research the salary expectations in advance. अगर आपको नहीं भी पता तो जो भी pay commission चल रहा है, whether it's the 7th pay commission that's going, so you will say as per the industry norms or as per the 7th pay commission, or for me right now the salary part is not very important, but then I have seen that people in my roles usually get a salary between this much and this much, so I would like to have a salary between the range of this much to this much. So if you're researching well, they know that this person is serious in life. So never give an answer that I don't know. That's not the right answer to give. And again, salary expectations के लिए भी आप LinkedIn पर surfing कर सकते हो. People do share कि इस समय इस post के लिए what are the kind of salary that people are usually getting. So you'll get all sorts of information there. Then prepare the questions that you want to ask the interviewer. ये नई चीज है, हमारे टाइम में ये चीजें नहीं होती थी, but these days it is expected जो कैंडिडेट हैं वो भी कुछ क्वेश्चंस पता करके लाए कि आप क्या जानना चाह रहे हो कंपनी या इंस्टीट्यूट के बारे में. We will come back to this also. And then arrange at least 2 supporting materials with you. You would be required to bring along your testimonials, your resumes, your certificates, so on and so forth. And again, it gives a very bad impression if you say, oh, ये तो मैं घर ही भूल आया या घर ही भूल आई. So one day prior to your interview, रात को बैठकर आपको ये सारी चीजें arrange करनी है. Photocopies, attested photocopies, your originals and everything should be ready with you. So that anything that is asked for, get a proper folder. It should be there in your folder and just give it off if it is required or they require to see it. So these are a few of the things that you need to keep in mind as far as an interview is concerned, because these are the things which will help to increase your confidence. आपकी tension कम होगी, nervousness कम होगी, आप already ready होगे, pepped up होगे for the interview. And इसी के through अगर आपके answers ready हैं, you know which words to use. So you will not be at a loss of words at any point of time. आपको पता है इस आंसर में मुझे ये वर्ड्स का इस्तेमाल करना है. This is how I will showcase my qualities, my traits, my attributes and everything. And there will be candidates, as I mentioned, बहुत से candidates आपसे senior भी हो सकते हैं, but if they are not well prepared, you stand a very good chance in front of them. So just go ahead and prepare. And now I would like to give you just 2 minutes. If there is, these are a few helpful sites जहाँ या तो आप प्रोफाइल बना सकते हैं या आपको एडवाइस चाहिए, एडवाइस ले सकते हैं, जहाँ पुराने कुछ एम्प्लॉयज होते हैं उनके बारे में भी आप जान सकते हैं. दे विल टेल यू कि किस तरह का वर्क क्लाइमेट है. So if you need to take down, just take down, maybe you could take it down on a piece of paper, or you could even take a screenshot of this particular slide. I'll just give you, say, like 30 seconds to 1 minute for this, and then we'll proceed ahead to the new slide then. So monster.com, I think a lot of you have heard about it. And ye sirf exhaustive, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a few suggestive websites. There are hundreds and thousands of more websites that you can come across. So जैसे employees के बारे में था, you can always refer to www.glassdoor.com. That's a very good website. And अभी मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ इन सभी पर आपको सभी लोग मिल जाएंगे. But yes, things are picking up in India as well. And a lot of Indian professionals are using these websites. They're using various platforms to, put across content and information about themselves. So I'm not saying आपको 100% यहाँ से information मिलने वाली है, but yes, they will help you a lot. Okay, guys, for those who would like me to proceed ahead, just type PA, which means proceed ahead. So I'll get to know that whether I can proceed ahead with the presentation or not. Just write PA in the chat box. I'll get to know if you want me to proceed ahead. Please type PA in the chat box if you want me to move ahead to the next slide. So I'm waiting for you.
Ma'am, lot of responses are there in the chat box.
Okay, yeah, I probably couldn't see that. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, guys, so we'll move on to the next slide then. So as I mentioned, आपका interview dress code कुछ इस तरह से रहेगा for boys. Make sure that you're clean shaven, closely trimmed beard. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Bollywood movies these days, and a lot of heroes and a lot of celebrities are maintaining a beard, and that is the in thing these days. It makes you look very macho, but that's not the way you go to an interview. So make sure you have a closely trimmed beard. You're clean shaven. You're wearing very light colored shirt, white, cream, or any pastel color. An unobtrusive tie. I mean, obviously, you don't want to have the picture of a rabbit or a drawing of an eggshell on your tie. Now that looks very weird. You won't wear that kind of a thing. So don't make sure that you're wearing a tie, but then it's not something जिसकी वजह से constant attraction वही बनी रहे और constant attention interviewers की उसी पर रहे. So make sure your tie is plain, simple. A proper suit if it's winters, and a normal full sleeve shirt if you're going for an interview during summers. A belt, dark plain socks, and black leather shoes is perfectly fine. So moving on to the girls, if it's a company or a school which allows western wear, you can wear skirts, which is a mid-length skirt, not very short, or you could even go ahead wear a sari, ethnic wear mein, or you could even go ahead wear some trousers or pants, a proper suit kind of a thing. Now there are a few things that you need to avoid when you're dressing up for the interview. Number one, never wear flip flops. मतलब जो घर पहनने वाली चप्पल टाइप होती है, don't ever wear that to an interview. Also, never wear those torn jeans or faded jeans. As a matter of fact, don't wear jeans at all. Wear proper pants, and don't wear heavy jewelry. For girls, जिसको हम बोलते हैं less is more. I'm sure a lot of you must have seen this movie Hindi medium, right? तो उसमें बच्चे की इंटरव्यू की तैयारी के लिए द वे पेरेंट्स गो कि हाँ हमने सोचा हम भी कुछ ब्रांडेड कपड़े पहने. सो द वन थिंग दैट दिस लेडी द एजुकेशनल कंसल्टेंट सेज, अगर आपको रिच देखना है, वेल टू डू दिखना है और एलिगेंट दिखना है, लेस इज मोर. एंड यस, दैट इज द मंत्रा. एक्सपेंसिव क्लोथ्स जरूरी नहीं है, ब्रांडेड क्लोथ्स जरूरी नहीं है. व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इज दैट यू आर नीट, tidy, simple. You would make a better impact that way. So don't wear heavy jewelry, don't wear flip-flops, don't wear t-shirts, pajamas, stuff like that. So be professionally ready when you're going for an interview. Now, a very important aspect of what you have to do and what you don't have to do during the course of an interview. Apna conduct अच्छे दिखाइए. Now, this is one aspect where I'm really pissed off with a lot of students there. A lot of students that I have come across, they don't know how to wish. They don't know how to say thank you, sorry, please, very basic words. But these are what you can call the powerful words, the magic words that can do wonders with you, your personality, and obviously your interview. So just make sure you use these words as far as possible. Or jitna required hai, utna bolo. I'm not saying after every sentence say thank you or before every sentence say sorry, but wherever it's required, please go ahead and use it. Okay, don't come across as a very pompous, egoistic personality. Mind your body language, pronounce the interviewer's name correctly. I find it very offending when people call me Bandhan or Bandhan, because my name is Bandhan. And especially even when we'll be doing email etiquettes, this is one of the very important things you need to keep in mind. Spelling of the person whom you're interacting with and pronouncing the interviewer's name correctly is very important. Your responses should be clear. ये नहीं कि इधर की बात कर रही है, उधर की बात कर रही है, and the main mudda is not there. So don't beat about the bush. Be very clear in your response. Turn your phone off, because otherwise it's one major thing that will put the interviewer off. Okay. Maintain a positive tone, relax body language, speak confidently, be prepared with the questions, and mirror the interviewer's body language. तो जिस तरह का body language उनका है, कोशिश करो आपका बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी वैसा हो, बिकॉज उससे आपकी एक इक्वेशन बैठती है एंड द कंफर्ट लेवल इंप्रूव्स. सो दीज आर सम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डूज ऑफ एन इंटरव्यू. डोंट स्लाउच और फिजेट और च्यू गम. दीज आर थिंग्स व्हिच आपको लगता है कि शायद मैं बहुत कूल लग रहा हूँ च्युइंग गम खा के, बट यू लुक वेरी नर्वस. एवरीवन नोज दैट यू आर नर्वस एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू आर च्युइंग गम. Then don't display annoying nervous habits like pen tapping, fidgeting with your fingers. If you remember, ये body language जब मैंने आपको कराया था तब भी मैंने कुछ चीजें बताई थी. आपका constantly knee jerking चल रहा है, that is not a good thing. While it is important to maintain eye contact, it doesn't mean that you have to stare. घूरना नहीं है, सिर्फ हमें eye contact बनाना है from time to time. Seek clarification. अपने आप से मत सोचो अच्छा इसका ये मतलब होगा. If there's even the slightest doubt कि मुझे ये चीज समझ नहीं आ रही, so you can always go ahead and ask them कि हाँ I have not been able to catch you, if you could repeat that again for me, or pardon me please, or I beg your pardon. So these are ways in which you can ask them to repeat something, but don't just go ahead and answer. हो सकता है आपने misinterpret किया हो question को, so don't go ahead and give a wrong answer. Don't use your phone. Don't be late. Don't interrupt your interviewer when he's asking a question. If you have a problem, let him finish what he's saying and then go ahead and ask your question. Don't badmouth your previous employer. Now, even if I have left the school or a college on a bad note, हो सकता है हमारा कुछ problem हुआ, there was some kind of a communication gap या कुछ भी issue हुआ, अगर मुझसे next firm में या next school में ये पूछा जाता है why did you leave your previous job, I will not say यार वहाँ की principal जो है वो अच्छी नहीं थी, या उस स्कूल में politics बहुत है, यहाँ मुझे वहाँ पे कुछ करने को नहीं मिलता था. This is not the kind of thing that you would say. Never badmouth your employer, because आज आप उनकी बुराई कर रहे हो तो डेफिनेटली इंटरव्यूअर को लगेगा कल को हमारा जॉब छोड़ के जाएंगे तो हमारे बारे में भी उल्टा सीधा बोलेंगे. यू डोंट स्टैंड अ चांस टू गेट दैट जॉब देन. तो आप क्या बोल सकते हो? आई थिंक आई नीड फर्दर ग्रोथ इन माय करियर. I need to take some kind of a digression from my career path, and I need to look for better things in life, or I am looking for more learning opportunities. इस तरह से, that's the reason why I'm planning to come to your institute, or I'd like to join you, because I think there'll be a lot more opportunities that will give me a chance to learn a lot more. So, and yes, अगर मैं जाती हूँ, I obviously say that school has been actually a training ground for me. I've learned so much from that school, but now I think it's high time that I made a shift in order to, grow myself as an individual. So this is the manner in which you will handle or tackle this kind of question. Never lie. Don't speak too slow or too fast. बहुत ज़्यादा कोशिश मत करो बटरिंग करके impress करने की कोशिश करने की, because that makes you look very bad. And don't use too much of a jargon. Technically जो words बहुत ज़्यादा use मत करो. Keep it simple. And एका दुक्का जगह ठीक है. If I'm talking of NEP 2020, I will say NEP 2020. But बहुत ज़्यादा excessive jargon just to show off your language, just to show off your knowledge or education is not a good idea. Then ये qualities हैं which people seek. I think we've already done this: team leader, leadership qualities, a balanced personality. So I won't spend much time. And interview relationship में होता क्या है, आप initially आते हैं, जैसे हमने waterfall model किया था या WASP model किया था, it's just an extension of that. There's a contact, there is an establishing of rapport, then credibility, trust develop होता है, an equation is settled, then you start selling each other. Okay, so which means मैं अपनी qualities, education skills उनको दूंगी और वो बताएंगे कि हाँ हमारे यहाँ तो बहुत अच्छा work culture है, you'll feel very comfortable, you get a lot of learning opportunities, तो वो भी ये कोशिश करते हैं. And then finally you come across a professional relationship. This is how the entire interview process is. And as I've said, ज़रूरी नहीं आप best candidate हैं. It's just that if you're able to sell yourself off as a professional very well, you land the job offer. Now, the next part, and this is a very, very vital portion. Are you ready for the interview? Now, if you have to really see if you're ready for the interview, you have to conduct what is called a SWOT analysis. Is there anyone in the class who knows what is the full form of SWOT? SWOT.
And strength, weakness, opportunity.
And threats.
Threats, yes, ma'am.
So I think not just for the job interview, on a weekly or maybe a monthly basis, depending on how much time you have, you should always keep conducting the SWOT analysis for yourself, wherein you know what are your strengths, analyze them. What are the weaknesses? What is the area of improvement? I don't even like to use the word weakness. I would say area of improvement, because there's always room for improvement. No one is perfect. So आप कहाँ कहाँ improve कर सकते हो, उसका एक आपके पास नोट होना चाहिए. आपके हाथ में कौन सी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं जिनको आप यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, एंड व्हाट आर द थ्रेट्स. जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा, कुछ ऐसे ट्रेट्स होंगे जो आपके लिए एक बंदिश बन सकते हैं, एक हैंडीकैप बन सकते हैं. सो मेक श्योर यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन देम. सो इफ आई एम नॉट गुड एट कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स, आई विल गो अहेड लुक फॉर अ मेंटोर, और या फिर मैं वो चॉइसेस जो मैंने आपको उस दिन प्रैक्टिकल टिप्स बताई थी, आई वुड स्टार्ट यूजिंग देम. So start working on the threats which you think can be a handicap as far as your job interview is concerned. So do this, and then, sorry, just, okay. Now, so SWOT analysis is what it is. That is the first preliminary, preparation that you have to do. Then at the venue, what are the things you need to keep in mind? Time पर पहुंचे, अपना competition जरूर check करें. Because I'm damn sure when you're sitting there, just don't sit there for the sake of sitting and waiting. Start talking to the other candidates out there. You should know who's sitting next to you. उनके नाम जानिए, किस post के लिए apply कर रहे हैं. So that will give you a fairly good idea. आपका competition कितना है, कितने लोग same position के लिए apply कर रहे हैं. Get to know more about their qualifications and experiences. Because if I'm a fresher, और मेरे साथ अगर एक तरफ 10 साल experience और 5 साल experience वाले बैठे हैं, I will immediately try to think कि अगर मेरे पास आता है question, how better can I sell myself off in terms of qualifications and in terms of my skills, because that's the only place where I stand a chance. तो मैं अपनी accomplishments, अपनी achievements, अपनी participations, अपनी victories और अपने skills के बारे में ज्यादा बात करूंगी, rather than focusing on my experience, because I know मेरे पास उतना experience नहीं है जितना बाकी candidates के पास है. एंड इन कंपैरिजन टू दैम मैं कहाँ रेट करती हूँ, अकॉर्डिंगली उसी समय अगर मुझे अपनी जो भी मैं चीजें तैयार करके आई हूँ घर से, अगर मुझे उसको थोड़ा ट्वीक करने की जरूरत है, थोड़ा चेंजेस लाने की जरूरत है, आई विल डू इट देन एंड देयर ऑन द स्पॉट. देन अगेन काफी सारी चीजें हम पहले भी कर चुके हैं. रिमेन पॉजिटिव, अपनी अकम्पलिशमेंट्स की बात करिए. फिलर वर्ड्स हमने उस दिन क्रच वर्ड्स किए थे, अवॉइड यूजिंग देम, रादर देन दैट स्टार्ट यूजिंग सम पॉजेस. एंड कुछ ऐसे फ्रेजेस होते हैं जहां पर आप ये दिखता है कि ये इंसान श्योर नहीं है, सो अवॉइड यूजिंग द वर्ड्स आई थिंक or I guess, maybe, probably. These are words and phrases that you need to avoid. And avoid verbose answers. While it is a good idea कि आप पहले से preparation करके जाएं, it's not a good idea कि आप answers cram करके और रट के जाएं and you just vomit those answers in front of your potential employer. It's not a good idea. तो रटे रटाए answers नहीं चाहिए, but yes, well prepared answers जरूर चाहिए. Now, again, interview questions किस तरह के आ सकते हैं? So resume based, position based and behavior based. I think इसके details हम पहले ही कर चुके हैं. So the type of questions: open, closed, leading questions, जहाँ पे they will start off with something and उसको ही आप question में कुछ part आ जाएगा answer का, और उसी को further आपको carry forward करना है. जैसे मैंने hypothetical situation दी आपको कि बच्चा is not punctual or he is indisciplined. लीडिंग में आ सकता है, एडजेक्टिव्स का टॉपिक चल रहा है, एंड आई नीड टू स्टार्ट ऑफ विद दैट, हाउ वुड आई डू इट. तो आपको मैंने एक तरीका बता दिया कि इस बारे में बात करनी है आपको, एंड देन यू वुड मूव अहेड. एंड प्रोबिंग मींस जहां वो आपके बारे में और जानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. अगर आप मेंशन कर रहे हो अपने स्किल्स में कि आई एम अ गुड टीम प्लेयर, तो आप जेन्युइनली अच्छे टीम प्लेयर हो या नहीं हो, इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, जिसमें ऑटोमेटिकली, और आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा, और इनडायरेक्टली दे विल गेट टू नो वेदर यू आर गुड टीम प्लेयर और नॉट. नाउ, these are a few of the important questions that you can usually be asked. These are very standard questions. So make sure you get prepared for them. These 10 questions at least, bare minimum. So tell me about yourself. A very important question. Now, as I mentioned here, इसमें कभी भी ये mention मत करना जो आपके resume में, I did my graduation from here, I did my postgrad from there, I did my diploma from there, and then I switched over. I took up my first job here, or after my graduation, post-graduation, I did this, and I did this after that. ये सब resume में mentioned है. So why would they want to repeat this entire thing? So अभी we'll discuss what all things and then what interests you about the job opening. यहाँ important है कि आपकी job description और आपकी job specifications आपको पता हो. उसी के basis पे आप बोलेंगे इसी reason से मैं यहाँ काम करना चाह रहा हूँ या काम करना चाह रही हूँ. What do you know about your company? Website, LinkedIn is the best place to be. Why are you no longer with your last job? We've done this question again. Why should we hire you for for this job? ऐसा क्या है आप में कि हम आपको hire करें? We will take up this question in a little while from now. Your greatest strengths and weaknesses, we will take this up. Greatest achievement till date, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Salary range, हमने अभी discuss किया. And then finally, what are the questions that you have for me? Because it's a two-way street. So the reasons why they're asking you all these kind of questions, again, we've discussed. I will not repeat this again. Let's not bore you. So this is just a break in between. This is a very, typical way of, answering a question. I'm sure a lot of you must have watched Agnipath, if not this version, the later version, which I think starred Hrithik Roshan. So पूरा नाम विजय दीनानाथ चौहान, बाप का नाम दीनानाथ चौहान, माँ का नाम सुहासनी चौहान, गाँव मांडवा, उम्र 36 साल. So this is just a tiebreaker. This is not the way you'll answer your question, but then this is also a kind of, introduction. This is one way of introducing, but this is not how you will actually do it in your real life interview. Now, tell me about yourself. So this is if you've already been working somewhere. तो आप तब आंसर इस तरह से देंगे that I've been working as so and so company for over so many years. मैंने किस तरह से स्टार्ट किया था. एंड एज आई मेंशन, एकेडमिक्स में यूजुअली हमारा ऐसे चलता है कि हम अपनी लाइफ की पूरा ना एक स्टोरी होती है, हमारी करियर काउंटर बोलते हैं उसको. सो हम उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. सो दैट्स व्हाई इसने यहाँ से स्टार्ट किया. मेरी जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई थी एज अ रिसेप्शनिस्ट, फिर मेरी प्रमोशन हुई, and then I started learning new skills because I'm very passionate about it. A lot of training courses. I have a strong skill set, management expertise, and I'm able to, I'm eager to make full use of this, and that's why I'm here for this job. So इस तरह से if you see, resume से कुछ चीजें उठाई हैं, but सारी चीजें नहीं उठाई हैं. And then if you are a fresher at the entry level, तो वहाँ आपकी studies का mention होगा, experience तो है नहीं है. So you will say I've studied so and so. जैसे आपने बोला था मेरा CTET, किसी ने बोला CTET अगर attempt किया उसका rank बता सकते हैं. But don't go into too many details of things that are there in your resume. So I've completed a challenging internship at so and so place and I expect to graduate. अगर आपका अभी तक result नहीं आया, for example, a lot of you, even मैंने भी जब अपना interview दिया था, मेरा B.Ed का result नहीं आया था तब तक. But then you do have an expectation कि इतना result मेरा आ सकता है. So I'm expecting this much and I'm eager to implement what I have learned in my, in a practical and impactful manner. So this is for a fresh level candidate. I think most of you are fresh level candidates. So this answer would go as far as you were concerned. You just need to tweak it a little bit in terms of academic interview. This is more of a corporate interview answer. Then why should we hire you? Now this is a very important question. इसके through वो ये जान सकते हैं कि आपके अंदर qualities क्या है. So number one, for this, know what the job requires. तो अगर उन्होंने बोला है passionate, dynamic personality चाहिए, use it. I am very dynamic by nature. I have a cheerful disposition. I think I'm more of a people's person. तो जो भी qualities उन्हें चाहिए थी, mention those. Then apply your experience to it. जो आपने एक्सपीरियंस मांगा 5 years का, मेरे पास 7 years का एक्सपीरियंस है या 6 years का एक्सपीरियंस है. देन टॉक रिजल्ट्स. पिछले इंस्टीट्यूट में या पिछली कॉलेज में जहाँ पे मैं थी, वहाँ पर ऐसा ये प्रोजेक्ट था एंड दिस इज हाउ वी एज अ टीम accomplished it and this was the kind of result that it showed. And then this way, जब आप ये 2-3 चीजें करेंगे, how you're the right fit for that institute will come out automatically. And then close your answer, not the sale here, but you will close your answer after that. So this is how you answer your why should we hire you question. I am having an example here. So you could probably say I am a fresher. I do have theoretical knowledge because आपके पास practical knowledge इतनी नहीं होगी. But yes, you guys, I'm sure you अभी तो online जैसे चल रहा है now. This is a part of your training, the kind of workshops that you're attending these days with different mentors. So you can talk about these, and then you can say I can do hard work and I will put in all my efforts for the good progress of my institute. I think I'll prove to be an asset for this institute because I'm very punctual, I'm sincere, and I finish my work on time. I'm a good team leader, or maybe just bring out your skills here. These answers are not standard answers. You just tweak them a little bit here and there and make it more specific and make it more personal. Try to fulfill all the needs of the institute from me. So I'll give it my best shot, or I'm a, you can even use this thing that I am one educator who would like to transform the lives of, little students, or transform the lives of people, empower them with the knowledge that I have. And I would like to serve as an asset to your institution by transforming lives, by nurturing brilliance, by enhancing capability. So there are so many terms, so many phrases that you can use. So why should I hire you? So this is another way in which you can, bring out your skills, your knowledge, your passion. Then another way, इसी question को ऐसे भी पूछा जा सकता है, why do you think you're the right candidate for a job or for this position? Again, a way of showing your academic skills, your experience, your traits, your attributes, so your attitude to new challenges, learning में आप कितने ready to. So I'm a learner for life. If you remember, this was one thing that I'd used when I was introducing myself. I'm a learner for life, which means कि okay, see, teaching does not mean you own a teach. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, once a teacher, always a teacher. तो अगर मैं teaching छोड़ भी देती हूँ, फिर भी मेरे अंदर से जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना, टीचर गिरी नहीं जाएगी. But it is not that these days. Once a teacher, always a teacher and learner. Be ready to learn. So just tell your story. Prepare for it. उस समय सोचने मत बैठो. Then how familiar are you with what the company does? तो आपको ये सारी चीजें, as we discussed earlier, you'll get it across through the website, through LinkedIn, and accordingly you will prepare your answer and then you will state the answer. Okay. The next thing is, what do you know? ये हो गया हमारा. Then tell us a story. Now this is a kind of behavioral question that you may come across. Tell us a story of how you helped someone, or tell us how you solved a difficult situation, or tell us how you handled an indisciplined student. So again, different people, different stories. Prepare your stories well in advance and then bring it out. And at the same time, don't make your stories very lengthy. Make sure your answer wraps up within a minute or so, max a minute or a minute and a half. So don't just beat about the bush, don't speak too much, don't bore your interviewers, let them not lose interest. Keep it short, precise, concise, to the point. As we say, brevity is the key word. Brevity means you have to keep everything precise and short. Okay. Now, how do you handle pressure? Now, as far you can just go through this answer, but I don't know how many of you have got psychology as a subject. Is there anyone in the class who has psychology as a subject? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning,
Who's
ma'am.
that? Good morning. Who's
Ma'am,
that?
it's Varsha. Ma'am, Varsha.
Okay, Varsha, since you have psychology as a subject, are you aware of the terms eustress and distress?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you share it
Yes,
with
ma'am.
everyone? What is eustress and what is distress?
All right, ma'am. Eustress basically refers to the positive stress, as in you. And distress is the negative kind of stress, or we can say too much stress, which is hampering our performance in any field.
Very good,
So
Varsha.
you-
Thank you. Yeah, tell us.
Yes,
Tell us. Continue.
So usually what happens is that if we use just the word stress, we commonly use it to refer that, okay, I'm too stressed, I can't study, I'm too stressed, I can't focus on my work. But if we look at stress as a positive aspect, it is something required in mild quantity for everybody to perform well. On stage or in classroom or at work, anywhere. But if it exceeds the limit, then it's going to hamper, definitely. So we have to find out ways to deal with it.
Absolutely right. So stress usually has a negative connotation or a meaning attached to it, as Varsha said. So आपको अगर प्रेशर वर्ड आता है, so see what we say is, बच्चे को बहुत स्ट्रेस हो जाता है अगर एग्जाम्स होते हैं. So should we do away with the exams? And most of you as students would say yes, we should do away with the exams. But what we don't realize is, अगर एग्जाम्स नहीं होंगे तो हम पढ़ेंगे ही क्यों? There is no reason why we should study. Yes, I agree. Exams का जो question paper है, the way exams are held, we need a lot of changes and reforms there. Exam reforms होने चाहिए. But I don't think it's a good idea to do away with the exams altogether. The reason is, अगर थोड़ा सा भी stress नहीं होगा, तो why would I be motivated to study in the first place? Now, ये जो अच्छा प्रेशर है या ये जो स्ट्रेस अच्छे वाला है, जो हमें हमेशा मोटिवेटेड रखता है, इंस्पायर्ड रखता है, that is called eustress. EU and then stress. So eustress is good for us. So you can obviously say that pressure is essential for me because that is what keeps me motivated. So I love the concept of eustress, and I think it's that eustress that lets me keep going. So I love this kind of a pressure, although I wouldn't want it to get converted into distress, because distress से फिर आपको nervous breakdown हो सकता है, burnout हो सकता है, फटीग और एग्जॉस्शन फील हो सकता है. वर्षा, am I right? ये वर्ड्स आप यूज करते हैं डिस्ट्रेस के साथ?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so we wouldn't like to have a stress like that, but yes, अगर stressful situation आती है, I have the ability to handle them. I am good at balancing things. And यहाँ देखो एक बच्चे ने या एक कैंडिडेट ने अपना एक एग्जाम्पल दिया. Once upon a time in my college, I had my semester exams and it had to do or it was aligned with my final year project. But I broke down my tasks in a scheduled manner. You can even say I manage my time, I prioritize things, and that's how I avoided unwanted stress. So आपके लिए ये स्टूडेंट लाइफ वाला एग्जाम्पल ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा बिकॉज यू आर नॉट एक्सपीरियंस. तो आप ये नहीं बोल सकते कि मैं क्लास में गई और क्लास में मुझे बच्चों से ये प्रेशर मिला और मैंने उसको ऐसे हैंडल किया. सो इवन स्टूडेंट लाइफ में भी you can give examples where you've handled pressure of different kinds. Okay, then let's take up another question here. Okay, you may as well ask, क्योंकि आजकल की डेट में even though we say a school job is very smooth sailing and there's this fixed time. In fact, हमारे time में they used to say कि लड़कियों के लिए teaching job is very good. You go in the morning, you come back by afternoon, and then ये मैं अपने time की बात कर रही हूँ. I'm not talking about you people, but अपने time में हमारे ये होता था because if the girl gets married after some time, so she can manage the family and she can manage her working hours very comfortably. But believe you me, आज की डेट में teaching job is not a comfortable job because it's more or less आप एक MNC में काम कर रहे हैं या आप एक स्कूल में काम कर रहे हैं. They both have the same kind of stressful situations. There are no boundaries, and especially during the COVID times, Jyoti ma'am will totally agree with me. जो एक work life का boundary होता था, उल्टा वो blur हो गया और हमें आज की डेट में ज्यादा काम करना पड़ता है. Am I right, Jyoti ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with you. Totally agree.
Yeah. So obviously you may have questions like this कि आपको अगर ये तो खैर कॉर्पोरेट लेवल में, बट यू मे बी आस्क कि अगर आपको ओवर टाइम करना पड़े और यू हैव टू डिवोट मोर टाइम फॉर एनी स्कूल एक्टिविटी और समथिंग, वुड यू बी कंफर्टेबल इन डूइंग दैट? सो यू हैव द राइट टू से येस और नो. आपको जरूरी येस या जरूरी नो नहीं बोलना है. यू कैन ऑलवेज से येस. अगर कोई अर्जेंसी होगी, कोई इमरजेंसी होगी, आई विल बी देयर टू सपोर्ट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई वॉज एन एकेडमिक हेड and I had an issue because मेरे पास मुझे पहले जॉब भी करनी होती थी and then I have my own coaching cum training institute, so I had to work there. So very first time when I was asked to tell them whether I'd be able to give extra time, I said I don't have a problem taking work home, I can do that, but I wouldn't be able to stay beyond 3 o'clock. Okay, once in a while if I do have to stay back, if I'm told well in advance, I can reschedule my classes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if I'm not told well in advance and it's an urgent situation, I will be able to manage once or twice here and there. But otherwise, it won't be feasible. I won't be comfortable doing it. So I have to leave by 3 o'clock. Even though the others in my school were leaving at 4 o'clock, I used to leave at 3. But then what I did was I offered them that, okay, I can come early in the morning. So while the others used to come at 8, I used to reach there by 7:15. So these kind of arrangements can be made. So don't worry if you have to say a yes or no. So this is perfectly fine then. And yes, I was talking about a question on weakness. So do you have a weakness, right? So let me ask Bhavna. Bhavna, if you're there and if you could unmute yourself. Bhavna? I think she's not there. Deepa.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Deepa, अगर यही question मैं आपसे पूछती हूँ, do you have any weakness? What is going to be your answer? Let's see how you tackle this question.
Ma'am, in what perspective you are asking? Answers can be very.
नहीं, मैं आपसे ये question में कोई भी specification नहीं है. It's a very plain, open-ended kind of question जहाँ आपको खुद सोचना पड़ेगा मैं आपसे क्या पूछ रही हूँ. They will simply ask you, do you have any weakness? So how would you answer this question?
Ma'am, I don't think as such, as per the requirement of in educational institutions, I have any weakness. So I don't have any such weakness. But yes, I would say that if it's about the physical thing, sports thing, or anything related to that, so I can be I may require a kind of improvement in that factor. Otherwise, I don't have any such weakness.
Okay, that is Deepa's answer. I'm not saying whether it's right, wrong, partly correct, partly incorrect. I'll take one more answer. Shubham, are you there? I'm sure you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So Shubham, how would you attempt this answer?
Ma'am, as you have said in the start that it is not weakness, we should prefer it by the area of improvement, right, ma'am?
Correct.
So I can proceed with that. I wouldn't say that I have any weakness, but surely I have some areas in which I would like to improve myself. Along with that, I can give an example that I used to have this weakness, and I'm working hard or doing things. And I can give an example that how I have worked hard to overcome that weaknesses. And from time to time, I'm working hard and improving my skills, and that way I'm becoming a better one myself.
Okay, so I think this is one way of answering it कि yes अभी तो ऐसा कुछ weakness नहीं, but yes मेरी ये weakness थी and how I worked hard to overcome that weakness. So this I can say can be taken as an answer, but I would suggest even a better answer than this. Number one, always realize no one is perfect. So the minute you say no, I don't have weakness, indirectly you are saying that I'm perfect, and वो सबसे बड़ा झूठ है इस दुनिया का, because हम में से कोई भी perfect नहीं है, चाहे बड़े से बड़ा इंसान हो एज वाइज, चाहे छोटे से छोटा इंसान हो एज वाइज, चाहे मैं एक्सपीरियंस वाइज बात करूं, बट नो वन इज परफेक्ट. सो नेवर से आई डू नॉट हैव अ वीकनेस. नंबर वन. नंबर टू, व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग ऑफ अ वीकनेस, थिंक ऑफ अ वीकनेस जो आपको ऐसा कुछ ढूंढना है जो आप शो कर रहे हो कि ये मेरी वीकनेस है, बट कंपनी या इंस्टीट्यूट को ऐसा लगे नहीं ये तो हमारे काम की चीज है. Okay, so take a weakness which sounds like a strength. Now this is a tricky part. Number two, while usually मैं सबको ये बोलती हूँ you have to be very very honest with your answers. ये एक ऐसा आंसर है, इकलौता एक ऐसा आंसर है where you don't have to be too honest. So never say I am very short tempered. अगर एक टीचर शॉर्ट टेम्पर्ड है तो सबसे पहले इंस्टीट्यूट को लगेगा ये तो टीचर बनने लायक ही नहीं है, बिकॉज उसको गुस्सा ही इतना आता है. सो इवन दो यू मे बी अ शॉर्ट टेम्पर्ड कैंडिडेट, never mention it in your interview. So ये एक question है where you don't need to be too honest. Now how do we answer this? मैंने आपको ये तो बता दिया क्या नहीं करना, तो फिर करना क्या है. Now if I were asked this question, I would say I think one basic weakness that I have is that I am a workaholic. मेरे लिए ये weakness है because at times I have even given up on my health and my family time to give more time to my work. It is my work that drives me and I just cannot do without my work. I am a workaholic. A workaholic means जिसको काम का नशा हो. Now मैं इसे अपनी एक weakness की तरह project कर रही हूँ, लेकिन जो इंस्टीट्यूट है उनको तो ऐसे इंसान चाहिए जो पैशन ड्रिवन हो, जो हमेशा काम करने में विश्वास करते हो. So you have to play this answer very very smartly. मेरे लिए ये आंसर हमेशा एक स्टैंडर्ड आंसर रहता है that I am a workaholic. And that is true also. I'm not saying कि मैं ये झूठ बोल रही हूँ, but I'm typically a workaholic. मुझे काम करने का बहुत शौक है. If I don't work, I will slip into depression. So think of something like this, which you can come across and give it as an answer for a weakness, but let it be a strength indirectly. Okay, so I hope this answers your question. And then yes, towards the end do you have any question for us? Yes, you better have a question, because if you don't have a question means आपको पता ही कुछ नहीं है आप कहाँ आए हो. एंड इससे ये पता चलता है इंसान को कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, वो कुछ रिसर्च करके नहीं आया, तो इसका मतलब यू आर नॉट अ सीरियस कैंडिडेट. आपको लाइफ में कोई चीज सीरियस लेते नहीं हो आप. सो नेवर से नो, गो अहेड एंड ask some questions. So these are the kind of questions that you can ask. Number one, what are the next steps in the hiring process? जो इंसान आपका इंटरव्यू ले रहा है, अगर तो वो बाहर से आए हुए पैनलिस्ट नहीं है या फिर वो प्रिंसिपल लेवल पे नहीं है, बट इट इज समवन लाइक मी, जैसे मैं एकेडमिक हेड हूँ तो मैं बहुत हाई पोस्ट पे नहीं हूँ, बट इट्स एन ओके काइंड ऑफ पोस्ट, तो मुझसे कैंडिडेट पूछ सकता है आपको इस इंस्टीट्यूट के बारे में कैसा लगता है, हाउ लॉन्ग हैव यू बीन वर्किंग हियर एंड व्हाट डू यू लाइक अबाउट द कंपनी कल्चर और व्हाट डू यू लाइक अबाउट द कल्चर ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट. आपको क्या लगता है जो कंपनी है, फॉर यू इट विल बी द स्कूल और योर इंस्टीट्यूट, सपोर्ट टैलेंट ग्रोथ एंड करियर डेवलपमेंट. What are the kind of training programs, because we have what are called faculty development programs, FDPs. और जिन स्कूल्स में और जिन कॉलेजेस में ये होता है जहाँ हमें भेजा जाता है, या तो हमें CBSE भेजेंगे, NCERT भेजेंगे कि जाओ वहाँ अटेंड करके आओ आप, कई बार आउट स्टेशन भी भेजते हैं, और नहीं भी होगा तो विद इन स्कूल हम बाहर से रिसोर्स पर्सन बुलाते हैं. कभी कभी अगर इंग्लिश की टीचर हैं तो हम उन्हीं को बोलेंगे नेटिकेट्स के ऊपर एक लेक्चर ले लो, विच इज एटिकेट्स दैट यू नीड टू हैव अक्रॉस द इंटरनेट. Then you could ask about different types of projects, responsibilities, the reporting structure, which means अगर मैं middle wing की teacher हूँ और मेरे को किसको report करना होगा, directly principal को या middle wing in charge को या headmistress को, so I can talk about that also, and the profile of the staff as well. So these are a few typical questions. Then you can say, can you tell me about the person जो मेरे से पहले थे, वो क्या काम करते थे या वो क्यों जॉब छोड़ के चले गए. इवन आई कैन आस्क दिस काइंड ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन, आई हैव ऑल राइट्स टू डू इट. Then what would be the immediate expectations from me? What are you looking for when hiring someone for this position? या ये नया role है? Because when I became the academic head, वो position first time मैंने ही ली थी. So even I can go ahead and ask, if this is a new role. So could you just tell me what is exactly expected out of me? So they'll let you know. Then, are you available? See, unless and until there's some dire emergency, maybe जैसे अब मेरे केस में अगर मैं इंटरव्यू के लिए जा रही हूँ और मेरे थोड़े दिन में अगर सर्जरी है कोई schedule, so I will say no, I have a surgery, scheduled for so and so date, and I need to take a rest for a month's period, and then I'll join in April in the new session. अगर मैं इस समय को इंटरव्यू दे रही हूँ, but generally speaking, you should always say yes. हाँ, आप कहीं ऑलरेडी जॉब कर रहे हो, आपको 1 मंथ का या 3 मंथ्स का नोटिस देना है, then again you will mention it. But right now you guys are freshers, so you can simply say that I'm okay with it. I can start right away. There's no reason why you should say a no. So make sure when you're giving your interview, be a leader, a team player, a strong communicator, come across as a skilled problem solver. लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा भाषणबाजी भी मत करना कि आप ऐसा लगो कि हाँ ये बहुत लेक्चर देने वाला इंसान है, बिकॉज आज अगर आप इंटरव्यू पैनल को बोर करोगे तो बच्चों को भी बोर करोगे. So just go ahead and be concise. Brevity is the word. One last step is closing the interview. So this is extremely important. Questions पूछे, हैंडशेक कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप just generally कह सकते हैं have a good day or have a great day ahead or something, and you have a smile on your face constantly, and then you can leave the interview after that. See, every time that you go for an interview, आप पहले इंटरव्यू में सिलेक्ट हो जाएंगे जरूरी नहीं है. There could even be 6 interviews, 10 interviews, 15 interviews जब आप select नहीं हो रहे. Don't get disheartened. See, jobs are very less and very खासकर especially after the COVID period, things are not that good. But then don't get discouraged. Just treat it as a learning opportunity. हर इंटरव्यू पे अगर आप घर जाके सोचेंगे, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करेंगे, you'll get to understand these are the areas where I could have improved. I could have improved. Next time इंटरव्यू में मैं इस क्वेश्चन पे फर्दर ऐसे इंप्रूव कर सकती हूँ. And this is how I will go ahead. So learn to see rejection as a redirection. You have something better in store for you. Just think of it that way. Sorry. Concluding remarks are, yes, you want the job, but you also want to find a company that can offer you an environment. So be very selective. Even if you're a fresher, don't just jump at the first opportunity that you get. It's quite a possibility that you feel exploited later on कि मैंने एक गलत decision ले लिया. So think twice, take a proper decision, and then take up the job opportunity. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of today's session. I will just stop sharing my screen. I'll just put my video on.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Can we quickly take some questions, ma'am?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yes, students, any questions from your side? Ma'am, please take water.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yes, any questions from your side?
Yes, if anyone has any doubt, can write it down in the chat box also.
I think
Sukanya has raised her hand.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Sukanya, please go ahead.
Ma'am, while during the end of the interview, is
Yes.
it wise to ask the interviewer the feedback of the complete interview? Is it
I don't
wise?
think, no. See, if you do have to ask for a feedback or something, the right time would be if you get rejected for the interview. Okay. That is the time when you can probably ask them if you could suggest certain areas of improvement. But right after the interview, I wouldn't suggest it. It is, I think, not a good idea to go ahead and ask for a feedback. See, number one, there'll be a whole lot of candidates in line waiting for their, turn of the interview. So you're kind of, cutting down on their time. Even the panelists would be in a hurry because if they have to interview like 25 or 30 or even 50 candidates in a day, they can't be giving personalized feedback to each one of them. Yes, one thing that I forgot is that after the interview, within 24 hours, you must be sending a thank you note to your interviewer. Okay, number one. And if you get rejected and you get to know that you've not been selected, go ahead and ask for a feedback. So that feedback you can ask for on via mail or maybe through a phone call. Don't go in person and ask for the feedback. No one will give you that. They don't have that much of time. So I hope that answers your question, Sukanya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
But ma'am, is it possible for the ma'am? I have one question. Like you have told us ki ask the feedback after 24 hours, and there are so many
No, no,
candidates.
no, no,
So
no,
is
no,
it
no, no, no,
possible
no,
that
no,
he
no,
will
no.
remind?
You're getting it wrong. I said send your thank you notes within 24 hours, but you will ask for the feedback only if you get rejected. That may not be within 24 hours. At times they may take 10 days to revert.
But
At
ma'am,
times
how he or
they
she will be remembered that how we have performed
no,
in the interview?
no. But even though you think it's a verbal exercise, they will constantly keep taking notes. जब मैं interview लेती हूँ, I write the name of the candidate on my in my file. I write what post he or she has applied for. I take down my notes. What are the positives and what have been the negatives. So that's why I said सिर्फ interviewee को तैयारी नहीं करनी होती. Interviewers भी बहुत काम करते हैं. So they will have their entire set of notes. So it's not just the brain that's working there. It's even the hands. तो वो अपने पुराने notes पे जाएंगे. They will see where you people went wrong and they will accordingly give you a feedback. But एक चीज मैं और बताती हूँ आपको, even though I'm saying this that you will get a revert on it, not all companies, not all institutes are good enough and kind enough to send you your answers. So I'm not saying मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ कि this is the time when you can ask for a feedback, but हर बंदा revert करे ये जरूरी नहीं है. While you might as well get an answer 90% of the times, 10% you will never even get this answer कि you have been rejected or you've not been shortlisted. So be ready for these kind of situations. मैंने खुद जब फर्स्ट टाइम जॉब के लिए अप्लाई किया था, आई हैड टू बी कॉन्स्टेंटली कॉलिंग अप कि अभी क्या डिसीजन हुआ. दे सेड अभी हमने शॉर्टलिस्ट नहीं किए. एंड देन जब शॉर्टलिस्ट हो गई मैं, तो उनका अपने आप कॉल आ गया मुझे. सो यू कैन नॉट जस्ट गिव द इंटरव्यू एंड फॉरगेट अबाउट इट. यू विल हैव टू परस्यू थिंग्स एट योर एंड एज वेल. और आपको जवाब नहीं आ रहा है, आप ईमेल पे डालिए. एक बार नहीं आया, थोड़े दिन बाद दोबारा ईमेल डालिए. अगर फिर भी नहीं आ रहा, तो खुद से भी हमें समझ जाना चाहिए कि देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग एंड दे आर नॉट विलिंग टू रिस्पॉन्ड. सी अदरवाइज और भी एक चीज जो लोग करते हैं, लिंक्डइन, मैंने आपको बोला अपने अकाउंट एक्टिवेट करिए. अगर आज आप जाके लिंक्डइन पे चेक करेंगे, एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स, वेदांतु एंड इवन सम स्कूल्स, अगर उनको रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता, दे पुट इट ऑन सोशल मीडिया. दो आई एम नॉट इन फेवर ऑफ पुटिंग सच थिंग्स ऑन सोशल मीडिया, बट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल दे डू दिस थिंग कि मैंने आपको अपना सीवी दिया था या रिज्यूमे दिया था एंड यू हैव नॉट रिस्पॉन्डेड. तो ऑटोमेटिकली वहां से जो भी रिस्पॉन्स आएगा वो आपको डायरेक्ट मैसेज के तौर पे फिर आता है. बिकॉज पीपल आर वेरी स्केप्टिकल कि हमारा इंप्रेशन खराब ना हो सोशल मीडिया पे. दो आई एम नॉट इन फेवर ऑफ डूइंग सच अ थिंग. अगर मेरे को 2 बार किसी ने रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया, मैं थर्ड टाइम दोबारा कॉल नहीं करूंगी. मुझे समझ आ जाएगा कि दैट आई हैव नॉट बीन सिलेक्टेड. सो यू हैव टू मेंटेन अ फाइन बैलेंस बिटवीन ऑल दीज थिंग्स. ओके
Ma'am, a basic question which I do face, like despite of preparing everything, like we do our best before going into interview, like studying and all those things and all the
Yes.
question we might face. There's always a little anxiety, anxiousness, that nervousness and all. So how to overcome that?
See, first of all, be calm with yourself. We are all bound to make a mistakes. I'm sure मैंने आज अपनी presentation दी है. There have been places where I have fumbled. There have been places where I have probably not, been able to things the way I wanted to explain. So number one, accept your imperfections and don't get rejected by rejections. That's the first thing. When you're going for an interview, give it your best shot. But जैसे Lord Krishna ने ये बात बोली है कि फल की इच्छा मत कर. Go with no expectations. That's the second thing. Third thing, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, स्टार्ट रिकॉर्डिंग योर वीडियोस. सो जब आप मॉक इंटरव्यू भी करते हैं किसी के साथ भी, स्टार्ट रिकॉर्डिंग योर मॉक इंटरव्यूज, गो बैक, रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन देम, स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन योर प्रॉब्लम्स. जितना ज्यादा आप अवेयर होंगे अपनी टीचिंग लाइन को लेके, दिस इज द फोर्थ पॉइंट, इफ यू आर द मोर यू आर अवेयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग अराउंड यू, द लेस लाइकली आर यू टू फंबल एंड फॉरगेट. अगर आपको एनईपी के बारे में सब कुछ पता है, अगर आपको अपनी टीचिंग लाइन के बारे में सब कुछ पता है, if you've already prepared for so many questions, hypothetical questions, if you have a mentor, in fact मैं तो ये भी बोलूंगी, जैसे ज्योति मैम is the convener of training and placement, you always go back to her. You can show her your recordings whenever. I mean, I'm not saying she's free, but whenever she has time and she has the capacity. जैसे मैं एक एग्जांपल ले रही हूँ कि आप मैम से जाके उनको रिकॉर्डिंग के पोर्शंस में दिखा सकते हो कि मैम ये मुझे लग रहा है ऐसे है, हाउ कैन आई इम्प्रूव. द मोर यू विल प्रैक्टिस बच्चे एंड द मोर यू विल प्रिपेयर, आपका धीरे धीरे आप खुद देखोगे नर्वसनेस कम होती जाएगी. एक छोटा सा बस एक एग्जांपल से मैं रैप अप करती हूँ उसको. मेरे 5 सेशंस हैं आपके साथ. ओके आपके फर्स्ट सेशन से पहले अगर मैं नर्वस थी और आज भी अगर मैं नर्वस थी, आज की नर्वसनेस का लेवल कम था. बिकॉज नाउ आई हैव गॉट टू नो अ लॉट ऑफ यू. मैं आधे से ज्यादा बच्चों को जान भी गई हूँ. आई नो द काइंड ऑफ पीपल यू आर. मुझे ये पता है कि आई एम कंफर्टेबल विद यू नाउ. सो जैसे जैसे मैं शायद 5th सेशन तक आऊंगी, मुझे नर्वसनेस भी नहीं होगी. द सेम गोज फॉर इंटरव्यूज ऑल्सो. Okay, the more you practice, और रिजेक्ट हो रहे हो ना, मैं तो कह रही हूँ जितना रिजेक्शन हो, इट इज ऑल द मोर गुड फॉर यू. This is the way I take it. 5 के बाद 6th पे जाओगे ना, you will be an expert in your field by that time. So accept your rejections also.
Yes, Rani, beta, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, Principal AIE, for vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Shubham, beta, please check. Hope ma'am is there in the meeting.
It's fine.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
fine.
Thank you. Thank
Ma'am
you.
is here, ma'am.
Thank you. Very good morning to one and all present here. So
Good morning, ma'am.
today's session I have joined partially, not completely. But the slides or the presentation that I have seen today and the words that I have listened from Bandan Preet Mahajan ma'am were really very motivating in itself. Were
Thank you.
full of positivity, were full of energy and enthusiasm. It is something every time you need a kind of fuel in your spirit to do something. And this was a lecture that actually worked as a fuel and will always work as a fuel for my dear students, because they are on a way to their journey. And in fact, we all are there in our journey. We have not yet reached to our destination. So these kind of motivating words from each other, when we listen, then it keeps us enlightened. It keeps us moving ahead. So thank you so much, Bandan Preet Mahajan ma'am, once
Thank you
again
so much for
today.
having me.
And yes, we are waiting for you for more sessions. But for today, special thanks for bringing up this positivity in my students. And yes, a positive mindset brings positive things.
And
This
I must
is,
say, thanks for your motivation for me as well.
and yes, the best is yet to be. The best is yet to come.
Yes.
So believe in the beauty of tomorrow. And this is always the beauty of next moment. Yes, there is some scope for improvement. There is yet to come. The best of ours is yet to come.
Yes.
And that spirit should never be forgotten by any one of us. So thank you once
Absolutely.
again. And thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for organizing such a beautiful PDP session.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear students, for keeping your patience high during your weekends. And do not forget to jot down the main points and start working on that. फिर से मैं कह रही हूँ, पीडीपी सेशंस को सिर्फ सुनने के लिए मत रखिए. शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाइए, चिट्स बनाइए, अपने सामने रखिए, that yes, we have to prepare ourselves by like this only. With this note, thank you once again. Have a nice day to all of you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Looking forward to your next session, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks to the student coordinators.
Thank
Rani
you
and
very
Shubham
much,
as
ma'am.
well. Thank you. Thanks to
Thank you
all the
very much,
students for
ma'am,
being
for
so
this
participative.
informative workshop.
Thank you, ma'am.
I said thanks to all the students also for being very participative, as always.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Have a great day, ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll take your leave now. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you now on Tuesday.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So students